All right, everybody. Welcome to the MURF and EDUBBS show, episode 28. As usual, waiting for my partner to sign on. We're trying to get the technology going so we could both get on at the same time. But the little light's going to show on to him, so he's going to come on in a second. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today on the MURF and EDUBBS show. We've been away from you guys for a whole week. And looks like he's signing on right now. This is episode 28, guys. All right, looks like E's here. E, you there, buddy?
Hey, Murph, how you doing?
All right, pal. How you doing?
Great, excellent. Episode 28. Keep having some fun with this, Rich. We're going to get to it soon.
Yes. Well, yeah, episode 28. Well, listen, once a week, like I said, once a week. We're going to manage to throw a couple here and there, some interviews we want to do and stuff like that. But we will be here on a Friday or a Saturday for your listening enjoyment. Even though the NFL is hitting us hard right now in the next couple of weeks. When the NFL's done, that usually goes into some kind of like a little dull period. But me and Eve have been putting our heads together, and we got a lot of good topics coming your way. We'll hit you with that in a couple of weeks, but we're not going to leave you hanging. So we got a lot of good topics to talk about.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, never a dull moment, Murph. We got the gift of gab for sure. And yeah, that dead period called the February freeze after the Super Bowl to the baseball season starts. It's kind of like dead, but we'll definitely bring content to you guys. So have no fear. Murph and EDUBBS are here.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, Eric, are you I know you like your iced coffee. Are you a hot coffee guy?
You know what, Rich? I never drink hot coffee. Actually, to put it out there, I never had a cup of coffee till I was 32. My wife was pregnant at the time, and that was the first time in my life I ever had a cup of coffee. And ever since then, it's been iced coffee all the way. I'm not a hot drink. I'm not even a hot tea type of guy. Not even that.
Really, I like hot coffee. I started drinking coffee a little later in life myself, probably in my mid-20s. But that's not why I'm saying this. I recently got myself a one of those frothers. Those things that mix up the little frother thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got your little cute little drinks, right, Rich?
It completely changed my life, dude. You got you froth up the milk, you put a little sugar in it. You're supposed to stay away from the sugar, but you froth up the milk a little bit, throw a little sugar on top, you pour the coffee in. I'm telling you, dude, it changed my life. This is my second cup of coffee today. I'm on Facebook Live right now, E. So I don't know if you guys, let everybody on your end know that if they want to see us. We're on the MURF and EDUBBS show, Facebook Live also. If you guys are wondering out there, if you guys want to click on our group, you'll see me live. So, yeah, E, like I said, the frother thing completely changed my life. I mean, I love coffee, but completely changed my life.
Well, it's pretty funny, Rich, because I saw these things on the counter the other day. They're hot chocolate balls. I never knew what they were before, but I put one in my. You warm up some milk and you put this thing in the milk and it explodes and it's like a hot chocolate. It's like marshmallows come out of it. It's like a party waiting to happen. So I did have a hot drink this week. I was just curious about these things on the counter, but I'm not a hot drink type of guy.
Eric, how good are those things, dude? Those hot chocolate balls, they're amazing.
You know what? I thought they were candy. I was going to just put one in my mouth and eat it, but the things are huge. They're like Rocky Mountain oysters. If anybody knows what that is, it's a delicacy in Colorado. But yeah, I was
Thank God you didn't tell me you hated those hot chocolate balls. Then I would have really had a problem with you.
Actually, I might have one after the show, Rich. They're pretty good.
Nice, dude. Very good, very good.
I don't know about the I don't know about the calorie content, and bikini season's made in January, Rich. But yeah, I do think they were very good, and just the things that are inside of it. I was like, wow, what is this? I saw a marshmallow pop out. Wow, it's amazing. You know what I wish would pop out, Rich? I wish some money would pop out because you know what? One person won that Mega Million, whatever the hell it is in Maine, $1.3 billion. So the only thing coming out of my balls are marshmallows. My hot chocolate balls, actually, I should say.
All right, a little too much information there, E.
Sorry.
I love it. Hey, listen, as we always do, it's our 28th episode 28. We like to hit you guys with the number, number 20, people who wore the number 28 in their careers and are very, very well-known figures. I know football's got a lot of them, but you know what I like what you do? You normally like to come up with a lot of facts about the number 28. And I don't know if you did that this time, E, but I know I like those facts, the number 28 facts. You got any of those for us?
Well, Rich, it was a busy week for me, but I never sleep at the wheel, Rich. I did my 28 facts, and I'm going to give them right now, if you don't mind. First of all, we all know February has 28 days, sometimes. The 28th state to join the Union was Texas, and it's so funny. All these, like, last week it was Florida, and this week it's Texas. Like, anything happens in these states, so it's kind of ironic they go back and back, these two states. The 28th number on the atomic chart is nickel. I wish I had a couple of more nickels in my pocket, not like that person in Maine with 1.35 billion. The 28th president was Woodrow Wilson, who ironically was also born on the 28th of December. In Super Bowl 28, the Dallas Cowboys beat the Buffalo Bills. That was a back-to-back thing. Buffalo lost their fourth Super Bowl in a row. And guess who tossed the coin on the 20 at Super Bowl 28, Rich? Any ideas who tossed the coin that day?
Super Bowl 28. Was it said that was the Dallas Cowboys? Tony Dorsett. I don't know.
No, I'll give you a hint. It's somebody we're going to talk about later. A quarterback that's very overrated in our book.
Joe Namath.
It was the 50th anniversary, Rich, of the. I'm sorry, the 25th anniversary of the '69 Super Bowl. But yeah, he tossed the coin that day. Famous number 20.
That's about all he did. Yeah, I think you lost your connection, dude. Yeah, we're gonna go into this, and we are gonna go into
not
this.
Not a big number in sports.
Guys. Hey, Eric, you cut out there a little bit, though, dude.
Oh, okay. So, famous number 28s in sports: Burt Blyleven, Marshall Faulk, and Curtis Martin. I don't know where your list is, Rich, for number 28. It's not the biggest number in sports.
Well, listen, if you're a soccer fan, Ronaldo, he's number 28. I mean, he's marked down as second. Yeah, exactly. But you know what, though? You want to hear something crazy? I went down a list of the best number 28s in their sport to wear the number. Behind Adrian Peterson, who's number 1, is Ronaldo's number 2.
Oh, wow.
Now,
crazy.
Yeah, it's whatever. He wore number 28. Like you said, Curtis Martin, near and dear to my heart. Probably my second favorite Jet of all time, right behind Mr. Al Toon. And we're going to get into it later. Joe Namath is way, way down on that list. He maybe tops on my least favorite Jets of all time. But Curtis Martin, and you know who else wore the number 20? Buster Posey.
Oh, wow.
And it says here, I guess so. Gaylord Perry wore the number 28. He has passed
for many teams, though. Which team did he win the 28 for? That's crazy.
That's on. It just says the 28, but he's up there. Now I got who else wore the number 28 is Darryl Green.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now there's a little known fact about Darryl Green. Darryl Green was part of the weirdest college football draft pretty much of all time. Do you remember which year that was? That was 1983. Do you remember what happened in 1983 in that college draft?
Was that the quarterback draft, Rich, with all those quarterbacks?
That was the quarterback draft. And that was the quarterback draft where players like Todd Blackledge and somebody else went before one, Dan Marino, who smoked a little weed at Pitt and was on the was off the radar of a lot of teams and wound up becoming one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, only to sniff the Super Bowl one time. I guess the Dolphins thought there was going to be a lot more after that. But Darryl Green, and what Darryl Green has to do with that draft is Dan Marino was the second to last pick in that draft. The final pick in that draft in the first round. The final first-round draft pick was the Washington Redskins selected Darryl Green. So he was the last first-round pick in that draft. And we all know how Darryl Green's career turned out. He was quite the cornerback in the league, and there was a whole bunch of players on that list from that draft that turned out to be great professional quarterbacks. And Todd Blackledge wasn't one of them, but you can name a whole bunch of others. So,
and they'll always be
John Elway. John Elway almost went to the Yankees that year.
Yeah, John Elway almost. Yeah, exactly. And the Colts drafted him too, right? And he didn't want to play in Indianapolis or Baltimore, whatever they were then. But he, crybaby, right?
He didn't want to. Yeah, exactly. He didn't want to play for. The Colts. So he threatened. I guess it was Bill Polian at the time. He threatened him that he was just going to go play. He was going to go play baseball for the Yankees. Come on.
It's kind of like the Eli Manning thing too, Rich, down the road. Yeah, Eli Manning too. He didn't want to play in San Diego. Remember that? He came to the Giants for Phillip Rivers. So similar type thing a couple of years later, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Marshall Faulk. Listen, they had Adrian Peterson up there as a number 128. I don't know. I was partial to Marshall Faulk, man. I think Marshall Faulk might have been a better all-around running back than Adrian Peterson. Do you think so, or what do you think about that, dude?
Yeah, I think Falk was a great running back. I think Curtis Martin was a great running back too. Man. All these guys were in number 28 and stuff. The thing with Adrian Peterson though, Rich, he had that massive injury and he came back. So the guy he was made like a robot. Peterson, what a strength athlete he was.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, and that's probably why. I guess to take into consideration to come back from an injury like that and stuff. Yeah, I guess I could go with that. But I'm still like, watch Curtis Martin. Love Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin and Marshall Faulk to me. I guess just kind of had like I was watching those two at that time. A lot. And the thing about Marshall Faulk was, Marshall Faulk could go in there. He was a 2,000 all-purpose yard guy a lot too, because he would come out of the backfield and he'd catch for 700-800 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, great running back. Yeah, all those guys that kind of like a Christian McCaffrey now. Same type of running back who catches a lot of passes too and stuff out of the backfield.
Yeah, exactly. All right, anything else you want to talk about? Anything else with the number 28?
No, I just want to touch on the weather, though, Rich. We got a nice little dusting of snow this morning, and it's funny because you still have a kid in the Wappinger School District. So what was with this delayed opening the other day?
I don't know, dude. The delayed opening, maybe it was because I don't know. Maybe it's because they haven't got any snow days or anything. I don't know, but it was I don't get it because, like I said, I drive my son to school every morning, so he. I got up and I saw it was a 2-hour delay. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I don't know, dude. Maybe they just have to give some of them away. I guess they got a certain number they got to use, and maybe that was the day. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not really sure what they were thinking about that because they never closed school back in the day, man. When we were kids, you know what I mean? They never. Now they just close it for if there's a threat of snow,
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. And I know Ben just put in higher elevation communities. I know, like in Wikipedia and stuff, they're in the hills and stuff, but it might be icy up there, but there was like nothing on the ground. I went to the gym and I came back and I saw on my phone that Wappinger School District 2-hour delay. And I was thinking, huh? So it kind of like an eye opening. I thought maybe there was a movie somebody watched the night before and decided, hey, let the kids sleep in or something like that watched that movie or something. Or maybe it was the debacle of the NCAA championship the other night, TCU and stuff like that, who got smashed on the field by Georgia. Crazy, right?
Man, I was saying that, dude. If anybody thought that TCU had a shot against Georgia, I mean, you're out of your mind. I mean, Georgia was finally just pissed about the game before. They just pulled it out against Ohio State, and they're like, you know what, guys, who are we? They got basically, they got a quarterback there who's basically like, he could be married with kids at this point. He's like 40 years old. He's like, it's time to go, man. Let's just win. So they just went out there and they just did what they were supposed to do. You talk about running up the score or anything like that. No, they just went out there and they just did what they were supposed to do. I even think they kicked it back a notch in the fourth quarter when they took the kid out. So it's like, it was just, and that's what we were talking about the other day, comparatively, I think about with, when you have these, when I said the other day about basketball, I think it's easier kind of for, a George Mason or, a smaller school in the NCAA to come and beat a team like Kentucky or Duke or North Carolina, because I think it's just, the physical attributes. Because in college, you could be a little guy, be a good point guard, but if you come out, in football and you're just not this, part of this big program with like big weight programs and like, everybody looking over your shoulder at all time to make sure you're doing your work. And well, maybe. But these big programs, man, they just get the best athletes for some reason. Oh, no, it's because they're the big programs. But a big program like Georgia and TCU, I don't know, man. I just had it like the money had to be on Georgia, dude. Even with my son's like, my son wanted to bet. He bet Georgia and the under. I was like, what are you, crazy? They're going to score like 100 points tonight. So that's comparatively, I think football to basketball is like, it's just the physical attributes of football players is just completely different.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard. In basketball, like we said, you can shoot the 3-pointers and stuff like that. But in football, it's so much different with the offensive linemen and stuff and the defensive linemen. You really got to get that size. And that's why, these military schools like Army and Navy can never win championships because, they have to be a certain amount of weight, these kids on the offensive and defensive lines. But I just want to put a baseball thing out there, Rich, before you get into your promo. You want to do some promos and stuff and some shout outs and stuff. I just want to say there was a blip that came across the screen yesterday that the Pittsburgh Pirates Pirates brought back Andrew McCutchen, and I think it's a great deal. I saw the Amish Outlaws in the room now, but I think it's great having a veteran presence amongst these younger kids on the Pirates. So kudos to the Pirates for bringing back one of their guys who actually led them to the playoffs in the mid 2013, 14, and 15 and stuff. So kudos, and it's funny because they traded McCutchen away for Brian Reynolds in a cost-cutting move, and now McCutchen joins Brian Reynolds in Pittsburgh again. So hats off to the Pirates for doing that, and that's all I have to say on baseball today, Rich.
Yeah, no, there's. I was going to add. I just want to add my 2 cents to that. The fact that the Pirates, that's all well and good. They signed Andrew McCutchen, but how about doing something for your fans? I mean, listen, it's all well and good. Welcome back, Andrew McCutchen. But maybe if they signed Andrew McCutchen, in his second or third season when he was a possible MVP candidate, maybe that might be better. But listen, kudos to Pittsburgh for signing their old guy. But how about getting some players out there and giving the Pittsburgh Pirate fans something to cheer about? And how about trying to hold on to the shortstop you guys got and give him a bunch of money, because Pittsburgh Pirates, he did this it's a stopping point for a lot of these good players. And you know what? Why don't keep Brian Reynolds? You know what I mean? Keep him. Build around him. You got 2 young stars on that team. Don't get rid of them. If Pittsburgh wants to compete, just give the fans another little run like you guys had in the 70s. You know what I'm saying, Amish Outlaw?
Yeah, and the Pirates are trying to rape the Yankees farm system, so I think the Yankees are going to be smart this time around to not trade away their whole farm system for Brian Reynolds. But we shall see, Rich. But you know what, though? We still have 11 weeks to go till opening day. Let's give the fans what they want. They want some winter sports. But you got some promos, Rich, so let's get into it.
Yeah, guys, I got some promos I want to get out of the way. I've been talking a lot of stuff. We got guys out there, anybody's listening, Fishkill Little League. Fishkill Little League want you guys to come out there and play some baseball, softball, and t-ball. Guys, sign up at townofFishkillLittleLeague.org, and they need coaches. Anybody out there listening? I know Amish Outlaw. We've traded, we've coached together. Eric Weisfeld, my partner, and EDUBBS. I know I gave you a real name, but we have coached in Fishkill Little League. It's a great place to meet, some friends and have the kids play some ball. They need coaches, guys. Come down, sign your kids up, and ask them if they need help. All you got to do is ask. That's Fishkill Little League. Go to townofFishkillLittleLeague.org and sign your kids up. Also, my boy Kieran Mitchell up there in Dutchess County, GAA. If baseball's not your thing for some reason, you look for something to play for the kids, Gaelic football, guys. Go to DutchessCountyGAA.org and look at the schedule. They have U7 to U13 teams. If you have a 16-year-old son on the precipice of being 17, he is eligible to play in the men's league. That's right. 17-year-olds can play in the men's league. That means all my buddies out there, if you guys are looking for something fun to do, go up there and check that out too. They have a men's league forming. And guys, listen, it's free. Kids, Gold's Gym in LaGrange, it's free. The winter workouts. There's a lot to say about this. Just go to their website or go to their Facebook page and check it out. And Kieran's over there. He'll be happy to answer a lot of your questions, man. Also, I've been spending a lot of time with these guys up at Mahoney's. Mahoney's is doing a polar plunge. They're doing something for charity for the Special Olympics, and I've struck up a relationship with Kieran again, and there's a good chance that I'm going to be doing this polar plunge with them. It's on February 18th. It's up in the Hudson River near Fishkill. I'm going to be maybe helping out the Mahoney's team with Kieran up there, and I might be reaching out to you guys for some donations or whatever while I jump into the Hudson River, but. That's all well and good, but later on that day, the Hudson Valley Emerald Society is going to be hosting, doors open at 6 p.m. Mahoney's is hosting them for Shillelagh Law at 7 o'clock. $20 to get in. All the money goes to charity for the Hudson Valley Emerald Society, guys. $20. Shillelagh Law is a great band. They got great music. They got great food up there. Emmett's a great guy. Go say hello to these guys up there at Mahoney's, man. It's a really, really good time. Also, they got a Valentine's Day special as well. I know you're sick of hearing about these guys, but listen, you need to come with me up there, and we got to sit down and hang out with these guys. They're really a bunch of fun guys, man. And maybe, I think, I'm going to be I don't know if I'm going to play Gaelic football, but I was talking the other night. I'm going to get myself I might get myself involved in some facet. So you're going to be seeing and hearing a lot of these guys. So I wanted to get that out there. And I also want to, my cousin, Kevin, him and his wife over there in Pearl River, they have Murphy Wood Art. They have a fantastic display of everything. If you guys want wood art, I know everybody likes their flags. They like their American flags, their Irish flags, their Italian flags, whatever it may be, whether you're a union member, NYPD, it doesn't matter. Go to their Facebook page. It's Murphy Wood Art and check it out. I know a lot of you guys have these signs in your backyards and stuff, but listen, this is my cousin. It's a family-run business. He started it from the ground up, and they're just going further. They're pretty popular over there in Rockland County and Pearl River. I'm gonna get the word out over here in Dutchess County and all over the place. So that's my cousin Kevin. It's Murphy Wood Art, and that's over in Pearl River. All right, guys, enough of my plugs. But I want to get the word out about some people that are pretty nice to me.
Hey, Rich, could I just talk about Mahoney's? I know I mentioned last Sunday, but went there Saturday night with my lovely wife, and the food was delicious. It's my first time up there. I even called up and said, "How's the parking?" And the guy told me when I called, "Oh, it's in the parking lot of the train station." So silly me, I never knew about this gem since moving up here 21 years ago. But the steak was delicious. It was cooked to my liking. Garlic mashed potatoes, a little vegetable on the side. Delicious. What a meal! I was going to go on Yelp and do a comment on it, but I didn't have the time. But I will be yelping about it, how good it was, and it's kind of funny because we were driving home and I saw that. Remember that old Golden Corral building, Rich?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So something opened up there called the International Buffet, and that closed down too. So when I got home and I went on Yelp and I looked up this International Buffet thing, the reviews on Yelp. Oh my God! I can't believe that people are actually eating in a place where mice were crawling around, food was left out for hours, days, who even knows? But the reviews on this place were crazy. So that's why I like to stay away from the buffets. But nothing like a home cooked meal like I got at Mahoney's. People were asking me, like, why would I get steak at a Irish pub? Because it is called Mahoney's Steakhouse. And Amish Outlaw just put down, I think that old Golden Corral building was built on a ancient burial ground, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why it's cursed. I don't know if that's the case or not, where Golden Corral was, but crazy. And I just want to give another shout out, Rich, to my friends at work. Now, this guy, Steven, he listens to every episode. He streams them and stuff. He's a very busy guy. He never listens live. But he listened to every episode, and he tells me he's up to episode 27 already. So he's listened to every single minute of the MURF and EDUBBS program since it started. So shout out to my boy, Steven.
Awesome. That's great, man. Absolutely. All the listeners we can. Tell Steven if he's live that, we'd like to welcome him. You know what I mean? So, hey, Amish Outlaw, like I said, maybe Amish Outlaw, maybe you can take the trip down for that day, buddy. Maybe we could go see some Shillelagh Law. I know me and the wife are definitely going. So I think my sister's going to come as well, Amish Outlaw. So maybe we can get the horse and carriage to come down here for that day, and we'll hang out. So anyway, go ahead.
It's funny, Rich. Getting back to my friend Steven, I was on the phone with you at work the other day. We were talking about episode 28, I guess, or you were telling me some stuff about the show. And when he came by my desk, he said, "Were you just talking to Murph?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I was going to scream out, 'Hey, Murph!'" So Rich, we're definitely stars in the workplace. I know a lot of people listen to my workplace, not live. Streaming, but we're trying to get the people to listen live. So,
Listen, live, it doesn't matter, guys. Live, it doesn't matter. Everybody, you know what? Say you listen to it live. Tell all your buddies. It's all over the place. Spotify, Apple. It's wherever you get podcasts, guys. And I'm looking at the analytics. People are slowly but surely, they're watching after the fact. So once they realize that it's live, maybe we might have 100 people out here listening. You never know.
Yeah, do we get demographics on that too, Rich? Like where they're listening from, gender? Do we get that type of information as well, or no? It just
we do.
Okay,
we do. Good. We got some women listening. We got some people in Thailand, Sweden. It's less than 1%, but that just means that one person is listening from there. But I know I got the one person from Thailand is a very close family member, so he listens out there from Thailand. That's where I get those demographics. But yeah, I'm trying to find an app that I could use. Excuse me, the coffee's, I'm burping. I'm trying to find an app where I can use where I can get all the analytics together and so find out actually who's listening and where. But I don't know. Again, I'm still not computer savvy yet, so I'm gonna try and figure that out. So, hey, what do you think, E? We went into a lot of our, we shouted out a lot of businesses and we talked a lot about nonsense and the number 28. And what do you think we start getting down to the real brass tacks of what we talk about here? We talk about sports, right, E?
Yeah, we always do our 25, 30 minutes of minutia of what we're doing, how
Right.
our week was, and stuff like that.
I
But
like
that's
that.
good, Rich, in a way, because you know what? Some of these podcasts I listen to, they get right into the numbers and stats and make it boring and stuff. At least, like, if you're not a sports fan, you can listen to the first half hour and maybe learn something about the area, learn about a business or something like that. But you know what, though? If you want sports, now we're switching to sports, right, Rich?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And like I said, we were saying earlier, it's going to be definitely going to be an NFL heavy show, but there is some stuff going on over the NBA that we want to get into because the NBA is definitely starting to heat up. And listen, me and E are big baseball guys and we're big football guys. You know that. But we do have a lot of skin in the game here with both of our teams in the NBA. You know what I mean, E? I mean, we got to start giving the people what they want. Because I know we got my boy Ernie out there. He likes the NBA, and well, we got to start talking about NBA. So let's hit that first because I know we got a lot of NFL talk to go over.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we reached the halfway point of the NBA already. We're into the 41st game for some teams, so that's the halfway point. Also, the NHL too, Rich. We need some hockey representation on the show as well, right?
Yes, listen, my cousin's not listening. I know cousin Joe, maybe he's sleeping or something, or maybe cousin Joe's off on a mission somewhere, but Kevin, my cousin Kevin, Becker, you're all over the place with the hockey. I need a hockey correspondent, somebody out there. I'm calling you right now. Anybody that wants to come on and talk hockey, because we are both fair weather hockey fans. I don't even think Eric has a favorite team. I'm an Islander fan. But I'm putting it. I don't know. Maybe people want to talk to an Islander fan, but I need a hockey correspondent because that is heating up as well. And I definitely want to. We definitely want to get into the NHL, ready? So we need a hockey correspondent.
Yeah, I am a New Jersey Devils fan, Rich. I grew up in New Jersey,
Okay.
and the team came into existence in 1983. There was a lot of excitement at the Brendan Byrne Arena at the time, which became the Continental Airlines Arena,
Wow.
to the Izod Center, and it's still standing, that ugly building. But you know what? Back in the day, that was my home because we used to get, for good behavior at school, we would get a ticket or two from the principal and stuff. So, EDUBBS
Right.
being the angel that he is, spent a lot of time at the Brendan Byrne Arena seeing the Nets and Devils back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. I used to go to the Nassau Coliseum. I used to go to the Nassau Coliseum all the time. I used to go out there see the Islanders. My dad being a New York City police officer for all those years, he used to get tickets for the Islanders, the Mets, and that's why I became teams of those, fans of those loser teams. But because my dad, we'd get into there for free pretty much. But yeah,
Rich,
Islander
you know
fan
what's
growing
funny?
up, and the reason I'm an Islander fan is because of those 4 Stanley Cups and nothing since then. So I'm going to start following it again. But somebody's got to spark the interest, and we got to get a hockey correspondent.
It's quite funny, Rich. I've never been to the Nassau Coliseum in my life. You believe that? I've been to all these stadiums around the country's arenas, but you know what? The one local one I've never been to. I've never been to an Islanders game, as a matter of fact. Crazy, right?
No, when I was a kid, I used to go to the Nassau Coliseum a lot because that's where they used to hold a lot of the policeman, fireman, hockey games. They used to hold, the Islander games. I used to go to the Ringling Brothers Circus out there. Obviously I grew up in Queens. Nassau Coliseum was right there, so that's where my dad would always take me, or take us, ice capades and stuff like that. We'd go to we'd go to Ringling Brothers Circus, and we'd all of a sudden, we would get randomly picked to be in the parade all the time. So those are some pretty cool memories growing up. But yeah, Nassau Coliseum was pretty good to the Murphy family. We saw a lot of cool things there. And again, that's why I became an Islander fan. So it was some good times.
The circus was fun, Rich, right? Back in the day, right? Now the circus,
Yeah,
you can't have the animals anymore. So, yeah, I think they
yeah.
banned the elephants and stuff. But that was the circus back then. It was the tigers, lions, and elephants. That's why you went to the circus, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going off topic here now. So, listen, we're gonna get into how our teams are doing because they played a game the other night, and I'm gonna go into why, it was important, but not as important as I think it is. But we're gonna go into that in a couple minutes. I heard something very, very telling the other day about. And listen, guys are saying that I hate on LeBron James. I do. Admittingly, I can't stand the guy, but I'm going to say something right now about LeBron James that if you think about for a second, because he's coming up on 38,000 points. Have you seen this?
Yeah, he should be passing Kareem any day now, right?
Now they asked Kareem about this the other day. Now Kareem, obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a nice guy. He gets certain things that piss him off and tick him off sometimes too. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said something very telling about LeBron James the other day. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar says he's approaching my record or whatever. It does, it is what it is. It is, somebody's going to beat it eventually. But he said that I only took one 3-point shot in my entire career, and that's because it was rushed and I made it. So LeBron James made 2,201 three-point shots. Do the math. Okay, and I know you came up with another stat too that about LeBron James and Kareem as well. What did you tell me before?
Yeah, so LeBron James had 7,900, has, I should say, not had, has, he's still playing, 7,978 free throws made compared to 6,712 from Kareem. So there's 1,200 there, let's say. And so you're talking about like about 3,400 more points based on three-pointers and free throws. And that's like almost a season and a half, Rich, basically.
Stop with the comparisons with LeBron James. Listen, the guy is a phenomenal basketball player. One of the greats of all time. Hands down one of the greats of all time. He's got records. He's got points. That's fine. But stop with the greatest of all time arguments. And listen, I don't know if you're young people, older people, I don't know. There's people out there that love the guy, which it is what it is. But stop with the greatest of all time debates, because you know why? Somebody's always going to come up with somebody else that was better. Kareem's better. I'll put Kareem above him just from that alone. It's a stop at the greatest of all time, because listen, I know he's in the conversation. I'd be dumb, or I'd be remiss to say that he's not in the conversation. But when you come up with stuff like that, right, Amish Outlaw, not in the top 5 greats, not at all. I mean, I cannot put him there. I can't, because you know what though? What are the Los Angeles Lakers doing right now? What are they doing? E? What's their record? I'll tell you. Yeah. I'll tell you what their record is. I got it right in front of me. Let me see.
Way under 500, Rich. I mean,
here they are. The Lakers are 19-23 right now. Guy's greatest player on the planet, right? Yep. Greatest player on the planet. What's he doing over there? Complaining about that he doesn't have anybody to play with. So listen, man. It's I know I hate on the guy a lot, and not a big fan of him, and I can't put him in that conversation. I can't. Listen, you want to talk to me about, I'm a Michael Jordan guy. You want to talk to me about Kobe. You want to talk to me about Shaq. You want to talk to me about, listen, there's a laundry list of players that we could talk all day. Don't bring the LeBron James comment my way, because I can't be. I've been talking to people, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just cannot be swayed about this guy. I can't. There's so many other players. Tim Duncan is another guy on the shot law. Wilt. These guys are all, I think, better contributors to the NBA and better contributors to their basketball team than one LeBron James.
Hey, Rich, what do you think about these two names? What do you think about Karl Malone? Very underrated player, right? Out in Utah, right?
Yes, very underrated player, but think about the tandem they had out there. You want to say he was underrated? How about Stockton? Was he underrated? That was probably one of the greatest tandems of all time. His over 30,000 points and Stockton's numerous assists, they help each other be one of the greatest tandems ever to get on the basketball court together. Between a center / power forward or whatever, and a and a point guard. They had great chemistry, dude. You're right, absolutely. I'm a Outlaw. Hold on, buddy.
Oh,
coming in. I'm a Outlaw calling in.
Okay.
Hey, I'm a Outlaw.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
You there, bud?
He's very low. You're very low, Amish Outlaw.
How about now?
Get a can of corn. Stop using the string beans. Get corn and use that.
You know what it is? I have a new phone.
I'm Outlaw. I can't hear you, brother. Maybe he's calling from a different line. All right.
Yeah, so
well,
Rich, I was saying, you saw on the FaceTime before I had the Utah Jazz shirt on, so that's why I mentioned Malone and Stockton. But also one name too, Dirk Nowitzki. How about that?
Dirk Nowitzki. I think that was so great what Cuban did for Dirk Nowitzki a couple weeks ago, putting that statue out for him of him with that fadeaway shot that he's so famous for. That is such a cool statue, dude.
That's one of the best statues. They had I think they had a thing on Facebook, the best statues, and I think that's one of the best statues I've ever seen. Right? It's crazy.
Yeah. Listen, nothing tops the Jordan statue. I'm sorry. I love Jordan, but go ahead. I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to admit. Now I'm gonna broadside you here. I have to admit, I do like the Tom Seaver statue outside of Citi Field. I do like that statue.
That is cool. Yeah, you're right. That is cool. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. Listen, long overdue, but it was cool. Yeah, that's why. Listen, that's why to me as a Met fan, it means a little something different. Yeah, the Tom Seaver statue's cool. It would have been cooler when the stadium opened. That's when it would have been cool.
When he was still alive, too, right? Yeah.
when he was still alive. You know what I mean? Listen, it's a cool statue. It is really cool, but I guess, the message behind it for me as a Met fan, it would have been really cool back in 2009, dude. That's when it would have been really cool. It's a little, not too late, but, I guess you had to take. It took Stevie Cohen to come in there and say, "Listen, why are we not memorizing this? Why are we not remembering this guy? Make a damn statue."
Well, the Wilpons would have had to have a bake sale to fund it, so I guess Uncle Stevie came in and paid for it, so that's the reason why it's there. But very nice statue, but once again, we're getting off the rails here, Rich, with baseball.
Yeah,
as much as we love baseball, right?
Reel it in. Come on, reel it in.
I can't get enough baseball, Rich. I can't. You know what? You know what's funny? On the MLB app on the TV, I was watching. They had some Caribbean game the other day in Spanish, and I was actually watching it. And there's some Major League players playing it. But I love my baseball, Rich, and you do too. But back on the LeBron Kareem thing for a second. What do you think about Kevin Durant eventually passing LeBron? Now it could happen, right?
I know no one will love that more than me. But the thing is, unfortunately, I was all on board for that comment you said before. But you know what, though? Unfortunately, you said one of your buddies made a good point about him. He gets hurt a lot, man. I just hope he's able to sustain it because I would love him to surpass him. Listen, everybody thinks Kevin Durant's a jerk, but I just think Kevin Durant's I think he's just quirky. That's all. If you listen to his podcast, he's just a very outspoken guy. I think LeBron James is an actual jerk, but I think Kevin Durant's just kind of quirky. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. He's got to stay healthy, though. That's the key, because Ben Simmons has to step it up, too, now with the Nets because it's going to be a month now. So, the thing with Durant passing LeBron is the health issues. He's got to stay healthy, like we said, but he's 34 years old, too, Rich, so it might be a little, quite a distance for him to do it and stuff like that. But this guy, Luka Doncic, he's the next budding star, but when interviewed last week, Doncic said that he would never pass LeBron because he doesn't want to stay in the NBA that long.
Yeah, and he seemed. I don't know what you got out of that interview too. I know you're talking about the NBA, but I think he's getting. I think he's getting shafted by a lot of refs. I think you don't think that he kind of alluded to that.
Yeah, he did.
Dude, he's getting. Listen, I just recently, because of him, every time they're on TV, I like to watch, or every time you watch the you watch the replays of of the game and stuff, and he gets mugged, and nobody calls fouls on him. Nobody. He gets mugged every play. He's the best. Eric, right now, I'm going to say something right now, and tell me if you could either combat me on this, or you could tell me maybe I'm a little wrong, but there has not been I think right now, pound for pound, all around player. You could give me your Giannis's, you could give me your listen, even Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's playing on a worldly level right now, but there's nobody in the NBA playing right now than Luka Doncic. You could also tell me the guy in Denver also, he's a center, but this is a guy that we're both a big fan of the old school NBA. And I don't think there's been a guy since Magic Johnson that plays the game the way Luka Doncic plays the game. If the coach looked at Doncic and says, point guard's hurt tonight, you got to play point guard. All right, whatever. Center's hurt tonight, you got to play center. All right, I'll play center. That was the way Magic played the game. I watched a great documentary on Magic Johnson and just interviewing him about the game, the championship game where Kareem got hurt. And way he said that the way it was portrayed on the show was a little different, but he said from his perspective, and Kareem backed it up, he looked at Kareem and says, I got you tonight. I guess you called him Cap. I got you tonight, Cap. I'm the center. We're going to win this game. And this is a guy that would just play the game the way the game needed to be played that night. Not saying I'm just a point guard. Not saying I'm just this. I'm not. And I think this guy, Luka, plays the game that way. You want me to hit threes? I'll hit threes. You want me to jam the ball in your face? And I'm going to steal it. And I'm going to get some assists. That's why I think this guy is the best player in the NBA. And again, it's opinion driven because, there's other guys you could say, but Eric, this guy's playing on a worldly level, dude.
Yeah, the guy's a triple-double machine, Rich. And how do you think the Atlanta Hawks feel? Because the Atlanta traded on draft day. Remember, they traded Doncic to Dallas for Trae Young. I'm not saying that Trae Young's a bad player. He's not chopped liver. He's a pretty good player. But Doncic is a world. He runs circles around everyone. Doncic. I think it was definitely a great trade for Dallas. But look who Dallas has on the team. They got Spencer Dinwiddie. They got Tim Hardaway Jr. Did they even have a good center? I mean, it's like they got nobody on this team. They're just above 500. Dallas. So if they get Doncic some players, maybe Dallas is a dynasty to come. But this guy's like a one-man machine. Look back on December 28th, the game against the Knicks, Rich, down in Dallas. He had the 60-21-10. Nobody in the NBA ever had a 60-point triple-double. It's amazing.
No, I don't listen. I was, you know what it is? I think that happened between shows. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show, but this might sound weird, but I think the greatest part about that game, and I know I've told you guys a little bit about, I don't know if I mentioned it, I'm going to mention it again, because when he hits that free throw, and when he hits that shot to send the game into overtime, and the way he jumps in the air and he like flaps his arms, like that's not scripted, dude. That's Luka, 10 years old, on the basketball court saying 3, 2, and hitting that. You can't script that type of excitement in a player. So this guy is willing to do it all, and I think he's, like I say, he's willing to do it all and whatever it takes to be the best player. And I just like that childlike enthusiasm in him that really stuck out to me. That is a crazy feat. And somebody asked the other day, what's better, Donovan Mitchell's 71 points or Luka's triple-double? Luka's triple-double, dude. 71 points, you could get that because everyone's passing you the ball the whole game. Luka's passing the ball, blocking the ball, and scoring points. That to me is a lot more impressive.
But the more important thing, though, Rich, that game alone, he carried the team on his back, and they actually won the game, and stuff like that. So that was like a totally one-man performance that night, basically, I mean, they were down, Dallas, and they came back and won the game. Unbelievable what this kid's been doing lately. He's only 23 years old, too. 23 years old. Crazy.
I know. And you know what? And he handles the media so well, too. Like I said, just from that, when they asked him the other night if they felt like he was, if he felt like he was getting the shaft at the refs, he kind of like, I forgot what he said. I would be paraphrasing, so I don't know exactly what he said. But he like, this is what it is. Basically is what he said. So I don't know. Maybe that's why maybe that's why when you said that he's not going to be in the NBA for long, maybe he's just going to go back and play in his country. He's going to make his money. He's going to say, look, I conquered America. Now I'm just going to go back to my country and just, live the life. Because, and I'll tell you right now, American basketball players from Europe are coming here to take your jobs. And you got 2 players that are not American, not from this country, that are 2 of the best players on the planet right now. So American basketball players, NBA players, let's stop with the, maybe I'm going to kick back a little bit because I'm unhappy about my contract. Or maybe I'm just going to play the season that I'm up for a contract. No. Be on alert, guys. These guys are coming for your jobs. So you better play your game. I don't want to hear that you stubbed your toe getting out of bed the other night, so you need a night off. Kyle Lowry or whatever. I don't want to hear that stuff. These European basketball players, again, are coming for your jobs, guys. So we got to stop playing like we played in the 80s and 90s. Let's stop playing tough because you guys are going to be out in the street if these European players come and they're hungry. I mean, E, do you disagree or agree with me with that?
I definitely agree, and like players like this, I mean, Doncic, he signed a contract when he was 13 years old with Real Madrid. So this kid was he was destined to be pro. But Rich, basketball, just like soccer, basketball is like a universal sport now. So you're right, all these guys in Europe, the Josics came over here, Nowitzki, all these guys coming over here. You're right.
Back in the day, what a shame about your boy, right? He might have been probably one of the best Nets ever, I would assume, Drazen Petrovic.
Yeah, they got Petrovic from the Trailblazers, and unfortunately, that tragedy on the Autobahn where he was killed in the car accident. Yeah, he was like the Nets savior, basically. He came over here, and he was like this fan favorite at the Meadowlands and stuff. But yeah, you're definitely right, Rich. Within the past 20 years, the European invasion has taken over the NBA, and you know what though? It's a breath of fresh air because these kids are all around players. They're not just playing there like we said with Doncic. His court vision is amazing, up and down the court, and you're right, he is a Magic Johnson, basically, same type of player and stuff. But we see these kids coming from the Europe. You're right. Take note, NBA American potential players, don't take those days off because these kids are coming and they don't want to miss a minute on the court. Did you see Doncic the other day, Rich? I forget what game it was, but he was coughing and the announcer said he kept coughing. I think he got the wind knocked out of him, but you know what? Instead of going to the bench, he kept playing, but he was coughing. You could see him like, gasping for air, but he just kept on playing. That's the type of player these kids are.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And they're coming, guys. They're coming. So just you got to stop taking these days off for random, like rest days. You really do, because they're coming, man, and they're exciting too. They're exciting to watch.
He's been in the NBA only 5 years. Made the All-Star Game 3. He'll probably make his 4th this coming February, of course. But he's 10th on the all-time list on triple doubles already. 10th in 5 years.
Wow, that's that's crazy to me. Yeah, he's coming, guys.
He's the first player to get a 60-point triple-double, like we said. He's the first player over a 5-game span to go 250, 50, 50. So over a 5-game 10. He's the first teenager to get a 35, 12, 10, 35-point triple-double. He had 2 triple-doubles before the age of 20. He had a 35-point triple-double in less than 26 minutes, Rich, in a game. And he's the first player to start a season, first 6 games, going 200 points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists. It's just amazing what this kid's done, but he's getting lost in Dallas. If this kid played in New York or LA, this kid would be on a pedestal, basically, right?
Yes, absolutely. And this right now, there's a lot of good talent in the NBA right now. And, like I said, these 2 guys from these countries are outshining them all. What about this? I know you want to talk about this. What about Sacramento, dude? What about the Sabonis trade?
Yeah, just one more thing about Doncic, Rich. Don't even get the thought that he's coming to New York ever, because look who his owner is. His owner is the Stevie Cohn of the NBA, so he's staying in Dallas, basically, right?
He's never leaving Dallas. There's going to be a statue of him right next to Dirk Nowitzki. He's never leaving Dallas, dude. When he does, he's just going to go back. He's going to go back to his country. He's never leaving Dallas. Mark Cuban will not let that happen. Mark Cuban's a great owner, dude. He's a great owner, and the guys love him. Love him.
Yeah, even though he sits courtside at every game, like Jerry Jones does, but I think the players appreciate playing for Dallas Mavericks than they do for the Cowboys, because Jerry Jones is the maniac of an owner.
I think that, but you know what though, Mark Cuban doesn't have himself down as GM on his title. You know what I mean?
That is true. That is true. But you know what? Those nice chairs in the locker room, the jets that he has to fly the players around. Players love playing for the Mavericks, that's for sure.
You always hear him stopping off in sections and buying sections beers and buying sections food, and just like hanging out in the audience. And like, right, he's on the bench, but you don't see him like Jerry Jones yelling in the Jerry Jones, no matter who the coach of that team is, that's got to be a hard team to coach. And we'll get into that later. Actually, I want to make a point about that. We'll get into that later. That has to be a hard team to coach when you got a guy like Jerry Jones yelling in the ear, thinking he knows more about football than the head coach.
Well, we got the big Buccaneers Cowboys game coming up, and if Dallas loses,
we're going to talk about that in a little while.
They have a new coach on Tuesday. But you brought us this Sabonis trade last year, Rich, and at the time, it looked like the Indiana Pacers were doing like a dump off, but actually this trade has benefited both teams. I mean, Sabonis is going wild in Sacramento right now. The Kings haven't made the playoffs in 16 years, like we spoke about last week. They have the longest drought of any of the 4 major franchises. I'm talking NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL. We don't do the WNBA or MLS. We don't count that as playoff droughts. But Sabonis is like he's like the hub of the offense out in Sacramento, and definitely making a case to start in the All-Star game this February, basically. But they traded Tyrese Halliburton, who's like the face of the franchise now with the Pacers. Buddy Hield's having a career year. The Pacers were supposed to be in tank mode when they made that trade, but no, they're 4 games over 500 now, tied with the Knicks for 7th in the East. What a huge surprise. They're playing fast tempo, and they have killer 3-point shooting, and Sabonis is lights out with Sacramento now, but their defense is struggling. But like we said, the Lakers are in last place, and the Kings are in first place out in the Pacific Division. Crazy, right?
And like I said, that's just a matter of just LeBron James just not competing out there because he's not happy. And this guy Sabonis, it's really, really nice to see fresh faces playing basketball well in the NBA, because the NBA is a good game, man. I think it was lost for a while, and it's trying to come back because with all these young stars, but it's just, I don't know. A lot of people don't watch it because, it's a lot of offense and not defense. It's a different game. But I think these young stars, they're starting to bring it back. Listen, I've been rallying around the NBA the last couple of years, and I'm becoming a bigger fan. It is third in my repertoire of sports, but I am becoming a bigger fan. And I don't know, man. But you know why? Also, because Eric, we also got our two teams now. My other fandom, relies on the fact that I haven't seen a Super Bowl in 54 years, and I haven't seen a World Series win since 1986. But my basketball fandom has me pretty excited. I'm a Celtics fan, and my Celtics played your Nets the other night in a game that the Celtics won. Now, you made a couple of observations about that game, and I'm not going to break your balls about the win. I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but you made a couple of observations about that game as well before we were talking about it.
Yeah, Rich, the Nets really have to put things together. They lost Durant and stuff. That was their first game without Durant. I was watching the game on Sunday night. The Nets were playing. I forget when Durant got hurt and stuff like that. Oh, Miami. So Jimmy Butler fell on Durant's knee and stuff, and it might be an MCL, so it just needs like a month rest, and he'll come back. Thank goodness. But the Nets, they need to wake up. They need to have life without KD, and they really constructed their roster this year for life without KD in case there was an injury or something. They brought in this guy T.J. Warren. Now T.J. Warren was in the bubble when they played the COVID season, and this guy was like scoring 50 points in a couple of games and stuff. So he got hurt and stuff. He kind of like fell off the radar, but the Nets swooped in and got him in the offseason. This is one of the key pieces. Also, Ben Simmons. Now, we know the Ben Simmons trade last year, the James Harden trade, and Simmons did absolutely nothing with the Nets. They didn't even suit up for one game last year. There were some mental health issues. There were some physical issues, but Simmons came back this year, and he's playing pretty well, but he's going to have to pick up the pieces. You got Joe Harris. Joe Harris has got to pick up the pieces now in KD's absence, but Nick Claxton. Now, Nick Claxton, great center, leads the NBA in block shots. Very underrated player, but he's out there. But, the Nets are just, a game or two behind the Celtics, and they have to go into survival mode until KD comes back. But you know what, though? I think the Nets will be there. It's such a cursed franchise, Rich. And I told you the other day, and you agree with me because you're such a Jets and Mets fan. I said any New York team that has an ETS is cursed. It's crazy, right? It's just mind-boggling, right? And I can imagine a fan that roots for all three, the Mets, Jets, and Nets. God bless you.
Yeah, I know. But the thing, you make a good point. Again, like, the game. Now, how long is Durant supposed to be out for? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, they're saying a month, Rich, and you know what? The All-Star game's coming up too, so that's going to take away, a couple of days, so that's like not too many games missed. So figure he'll be back around late February, I would think, and there's still plenty of time left for make a trade. The trading deadline's coming up. I know the Nets are looking around to make a trade and stuff. They have some pieces to trade, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, he comes back in a month. I think the key is that Kyrie and Simmons stay healthy now.
Simmons made a pass. Simmons had a pass the other night. I made it incredible. I have no idea how he made this pass. I don't know. He passed the ball to Kyrie coming up the middle, but the way he was just dribbling the ball, he kind of like, I don't know. He's, you know what? When he's not under pressure, I think Ben Simmons is very, very soft, because he's a good player when nobody's, kind of like pressing him. But I think the minute he gets a little bit of physical activity on him, I think he kind of like, maybe that goes back to some of his mental health issues. I don't know. But I just think Ben Simmons is very soft, Eric. And I think that's why he doesn't get the nod as being as good as maybe he could be if he had a little more, balls in him. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think he's very soft. Do you agree or you disagree with that?
Yeah, I agree, Rich. Never a big fan of Simmons, but he's on my team, so I have to root for him. Did you see he had 0 points in that game, Rich? He had 9 rebounds and 13 assists, though. But yeah, he's got to.
Didn't Joel Embiid come out saying that he couldn't stand him? Like he was never, and that was supposed to be a tandem right there, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, right? I mean, Joel Embiid kind of, when he left, he's like, yeah, whatever. He wasn't doing anything here anyway.
It's hard to figure out the Sixers sometimes, Rich. I don't know where the Sixers are going. It seems like they're a team in discontent and stuff like that. So, Joel Embiid is great, but he's also yeah. I mean, they're hanging in there, but Joel Embiid, great center and stuff, but he's always taking time off too and getting hurt. So hard to be an Embiid fan, But kudos to the Celtics, Rich. Actually, the town of Boston, you got the Celtics and the Bruins, who are just kicking ass in this winter sports season. I don't know if people take notice. I mean, we haven't spoke too much about hockey, but if you take a look at the city of Boston, Rich, the city of Boston's won 12 championships since the year 2000. You know how many championships the city of New York has won since 2000?
Gosh, I couldn't even tell you.
Only 4.
One?
So you're talking 4 teams in Boston, 12 championships since 2000. You're talking 9 teams. I'm including the Devils because it's part of the metropolitan area. 4 championships. So the Devils won the Stanley Cup in 2002. Of course, the Giants won 2 Super Bowls in 2007, 2011, and the Yankees won in 2009 the World Series. So 4 championships in New York. You got 12 championships in Boston, 12 championships in Los Angeles. You got the Anaheim Ducks 1, the Lakers 6. The LA Kings have won 2 Stanley Cups. The Rams won 1 Super Bowl, and the Dodgers and Angels have won one World Series each. But in Boston, you got the Bruins winning 1 Stanley Cup, the Celtics 1 World Championship, the Red Sox 4 World Series, and the New England Patriots 6 Super Bowls. Thank you, Tom Brady. But you see, I think New York's got to step it up, Rich. It's crazy, you know.
You know what though? Think about you just compare these you compare these 2 cities. Think about the players that these teams from Boston had to bring them those championships. Listen, you had one Tom Brady there for all those years. That's like enough said. And you surround Tom Brady with anybody. You guys had Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. In Boston at the time, and now you're going on. I'm going to talk about the Celtics now. Now you got Tatum, and you got Brown. It's like for some reason, these guys gravitate towards Boston over New York, maybe because maybe it's just, I don't know. Because then think about the Red Sox teams. You had guys like, listen, I know you had your Manny Ramirez and your Davises, but you also had guys like Varitek. You had just, and what's his name? Why can't I remember his name? The guy that had the weird batting stance in Boston. Tough guy with the beard. Damn, name escapes me right now.
Kevin Youkilis.
Kevin Youkilis. Like,
Hebrew Hammer. Yeah.
I mean, for some reason, those franchises were able to bring guys together that were able to play together with a mentality like they wanted to win. Where I think is some of these players that New York teams have brought in, namely A-Rod. Listen, A-Rod was very important to winning that World Series, but very me such guys. You know what I mean? Like guys that the Knicks haven't had a winning mentality since Patrick Ewing was there. Say what you want about the Knicks, like the Garden of Eden. Like the Knicks haven't had a winning mentality since, like I said, since the Patrick Ewing finger roll, and they didn't win anything. Yep, you know what I mean? Exactly. So you got to get guys. You got to get guys in these cities, in our city, in our New York, in our state. That have winning mentalities, and I kind of think that's where the Mets are going, and I hope that's where the Yankees are going as well, and. The Knicks, I don't know if they're trending in that direction. The Jets, they're not trending in that direction because I don't know what they're going to do with the quarterback. And when we go into football, I'm going to talk about the Jets soon, what I think they need to do. But just our teams need to start getting guys with winning mentalities. And I think Boston, the Patriots and the Celtics, they have guys that have and the Bruins, they have guys with winning mentalities.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But look at the standings, everyone. If you're not following winter sports, the Bruins have only lost 5 games in 41 games. They've only lost 5, and the Celtics are kicking ass in the Atlantic Division of the NBA. And I don't know if Boston's destined for 2 more championships, but it's getting really bad in New York. The last championship was the Giants in 2011, so we've gone a big drought and stuff like that. And and actually these are New Jersey. The Devils and the Giants, so only the Yankees are the New York team that won the championship. But if you could want to look at it that way, but you have 9 franchises in New York, and only 3 have won championships in the past 22 years. So that's a little sad, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
But I just think, especially in the East, when we're talking about the NBA, the road's definitely going to be going through the. Through Boston. Listen, if Durant comes back and he's back to way, maybe it's going to come through Brooklyn as well, but. The Bucks are playing well. The Cavs are coming up. Sixers, you never know. They're, look, the Knicks right now, they got them at the 6. It's going to be, Celtics, Nets, Bucks are the team that's going to be fighting for the East, I think. And the West, the West is kind of, the West, you got, really not much going on there either. There's a whole bunch of teams that are different, that can win that division also. And, listen, you got Memphis playing well, Denver, Sacramento, like you said, the Pelicans, the Mavs. I mean, that's pretty much wide open over there. I mean, you got Memphis has won 8 in a row.
Yeah, Memphis is kicking butt. They're like the underrated team. Nobody really talks about Memphis, but you got to watch out for them. And I just want to put something out there, Rich. You said Bucks. The Bucks play Miami at 1:00 today. No Giannis, he's taking the day off. But if you're going to go on my Facebook and
why is he taking a day off?
Yeah, I have no idea because it's a 1:00 game, Rich, and you're in Miami, and there's other things to do in Miami and in South Beach.
This is what I mean. Why is he taking a day off? Why is he taking a day off right now? Right now they're tied with the Nets. Now, what's his name is not playing right now. Don't you think that Giannis would be like, maybe we could pick up a win in the win column because he's not playing? And is he hurt? Probably not. Come on, man. Really?
Rich, and it's funny because it's prime time. It's going to be on Channel 7. It's the afternoon game. You would think ABC would want all these guys playing because they're televising the game, So it's
somebody should. Amish Outlaw just said Stockton called out NBA players for taking days off. They should be calling NBA players for taking days off. It's not like it's 5 games into the season. I'm sorry, I gotta, I'm pissed about this because these guys should be playing, man. They're tied right now. 27-14, 27-15. The Bucks could pick up a win in the win column on the Nets today without him playing in over there in Brooklyn. Come on, man. Take days off.
He
needs to play,
knee,
bro.
So, he's got a sore knee, so
he needs to play. Isaiah Thomas played with a broken foot in the playoffs back in the 80s. Come on.
And I just wanted one more thing about the Bucks. If you're going to go on my Facebook and say "Go Bucks" to me, BUCKS, I'm going to put a picture of Giannis because the Buccaneers are BUCS, so there's no K in Buccaneers. So just want to put it out there because people put on my thing "Go Bucks" and I just do a GIF of Giannis, just being a dick, but I guess. But still, right, people? Come on now. You think you say you're sports fans, right? But yeah. So where were we going, Rich, about the NHL? I want to talk. If you want to talk hockey, we're looking for hockey callers to call in. Tell us about hockey. I put something on Facebook the other day with Peter Puck. Now I remember as a kid, there used to be a hockey game of the week on. I think it was on NBC, and I used to watch the games. But I would love at halftime this cartoon would come on Peter Puck, and Peter would tell the kids how to play hockey and stuff. It's really interesting. So I put a link on Facebook on a YouTube for Peter Puck. I think it's a 5-minute of program. It was like they combined all of them. They were like little cartoons, so 45 minutes. So maybe we need to watch Peter Puck, Rich, to brush up on our hockey, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to watch that video as soon as we go off live. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be the first thing I'm going to do is watch the Peter Puck video.
Peter Puck was very underrated, but we know some overrated stars that I put on Facebook this week, and the argument started, and we're just going to touch on one today because we could do this the whole winter, Rich. We could do this for hours and stuff, but what do you think about Joe Namath, Rich, being in the Hall of Fame?
Joe Namath. All right, I'm a Jet fan. All right, guys, I'm gonna say this with confidence. You guys could beat me up or not. I'm not a Joe Namath sympathizer, guys. I was looking at lists. He's 13th all-time quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. Dude, I'm not a big fan of Joe Namath. Joe Namath made the Hall of Fame on saying that he was gonna win the Super Bowl. That's why Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame. There are so many other quarterbacks that you could sit there and look at that are not in the Hall of Fame. And I understand. Now, you know what we got to do, Eric? What we really got to do is we got to look into it. I know we came up with somebody. We got to compare them to time frames as well. You know what I mean? We got to say that, Namath played in the 70s into the early 80s. So we kind of got to get a player from that era, which we did. Kind of got to get a player from that era to represent kind of that style of football. Like we can't say that, Joe Namath and Joe Burrow. We can't compare them. We can't really, we can't compare the two because number of games and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Comparatively. But we can compare Joe Namath to somebody who we came up with. And I mean, I don't know would you be so kind as to introduce the player that we want to compare Joe Namath to, who we both think should be in the Hall of Fame over Joe Namath.
Well, we stayed in New York, and we went with Phil Simms, because Phil Simms kind of played in the same era of Namath. Namath played in the 60s and 70s, and then Simms, he picked it up in the late 70s and played through the 80s and early 90s. So I think we can consider it the same era, right, Rich? Same era of football?
Namath played from 65 to 77. Same era. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Simms played from 79 to 93. But yeah, it's pretty much the same era, same number of games and stuff like that. So yeah. I can agree with that.
So Namath is in the Hall of Fame. We could both agree he was a media darling, Rich, and they think that's one of the keys. If you're in with the media, you kind of like get notarized, and they put you on a pedestal, basically.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I guess you're right. I mean, standing on the sideline in the fur coat, and he's dating all the models, and kind of, you know what? He would fit in perfectly with today's flashy quarterbacks. I think. I don't. And again, you want to go flashy quarterbacks? I can name 20 flashy quarterbacks that are probably better than him. That's all he had, flash. And he said, we're going to win the Super Bowl. That's fine. Like I said, anybody. Listen, Patrick Ewing said that they were going to win the championship. He guaranteed it also. Listen, they win that. He's the he's just like Joe Namath. He would be a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame because of that. I just don't think Joe Namath was that guy that Jet fans should hold their hat on. Now, listen, Ken O'Brien and Richard Todd never won anything. Richard Todd took over for Joe Namath. Richard Todd and Ken O'Brien both had better careers than Joe Namath. So, and comparatively. And listen, there's another guy that does a sports talk radio show in this city, in this town, that should be in the Hall of Fame over, and that's Boomer Esiason. Boomer Esiason's better than Joe Namath. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to. I just did some notes on Namath, and I just want to put him out there, Rich. He only had one All-Pro season, 1968. Of course, that was the year the Jets won the Super Bowl. He was 11-3 that year, 3,147 yards, 15 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. He led the league 3 times in passing. In 1967, he had 4,007 yards, but 28 interceptions. 11 of his 13 seasons, he had more interceptions than touchdowns. 2 times in his career, he had over 28 interceptions. He finished with 173 touchdowns, 220 interceptions in his career. 5 out of 13 seasons having a winning record. His career record was 62, 63, and 4. Only 6 seasons out of the 13 with a 50% completion percentage and higher. His Super Bowl stats are okay. 17 out of 28, 206 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
One game.
Yeah, he won the MVP, Rich, but he had no touchdowns. He didn't rush for a touchdown. He didn't pass for a touchdown. And it's just crazy how we could say, this guy's a Hall of Famer. I think Namath might be the ultimate overrated player of all time in all the sports.
You know what, though? Again, you just brought up another good topic when the like you said, the fall gloom comes through, the winter gloom. Yeah, we could discuss that. Absolutely, 100%. We could discuss that because. Listen, Joe Namath, and listen, Joe Namath, not for nothing. As a Jet fan, as a suffering Jet fan all these years, a lot of people, say that Joe Namath sold his soul to the devil back there in 1968, 69, and said, listen, if I made this guarantee, if you help me win this Super Bowl, I don't care if we ever win a Super Bowl again in the history of the New York Jets. And I think he sold his soul that day for that one Super Bowl win. The Jets will never win a Super Bowl again because of Joe Namath. So that's another strike against Joe Namath.
Yeah, and Rich, when we talk about overrated athletes, like you said, we'll do a show. I just came up with a couple of more just off the cusp, but I just want to share with you in other sports, basically, and then we can go back to Phil Simms. But, in the NBA, I looked at Bill Walton. Bill Walton was very overrated. He's in the Hall of Fame. He didn't do much. He actually missed 4 years in a row, only played 14 games in 4 years with the foot injury and stuff, so we could look at that. Lynn Swann with the Pittsburgh Steelers never amounted to much. He only averaged like 37 catches a season if you look at his career stats. And in Major League Baseball, how about Phil Rizzuto? Overrated. Why is he a Hall of Famer? I think there's a lot of arguments there. Much better announcer than player, but yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame as well.
I have a question for the Amish Outlaw, and again, I'm up in the air about this. Terry Bradshaw, listen, all the Super Bowls, I understand. Throwing the ball to Lynn Swann and John Starworth. He had good. He had a really, really, really good team. I mean, Terry Bradshaw's a Hall of Famer. 4 Super Bowls, you have to. But I don't know. Is he better than Dan Marino? Because he's above Dan Marino on that list. Is he better than other quarterbacks? Because I looked at the list and Terry Bradshaw's up there. But I'm not saying he's not a Hall of Famer because he is. You have to with the Super Bowls. But he had 2 really good wide receivers he was throwing the football to. So I'm a Outlaw. I don't know if you got anything to say about that. Yes, he was. Starworth was better than Swann, but he had Swann and Starworth to throw the football to it too. So I mean, Franco Harris, picking up the ball. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a Terry Bradshaw, sympathizer. Like I'm against Namath, but Bradshaw is better than Namath. But you got to look into some of these guys. Hold on a second here. I think I'm a shot. We'll try again. Hold on.
Oh, is he trying to call in again?
Yes. Something happened. I'm a shot law. I don't know what's going on here. There he
Oh,
is.
he's live. Here he is.
Can you hear me?
I'm a shot law. You there?
Still low.
I don't know. I'm a shot law. You're still low, my friend. Can't hear you. Maybe it's something I have to do on my end. I don't know. But sorry,
No,
brother. I can't.
yeah. I don't know. There might be some heavy clouds in Lancaster this morning, Rich.
Yeah, it must be. It's always cloudy in Lancaster. But yeah, Terry Bradshaw. Hey, I'm a outlaw. I'm also on Facebook Live. If you want to go on Facebook Live and chime in also. So I'm just let you know that. But yeah, man.
Rich, getting back to Phil Simms, right? So Phil Simms, he had he struggled a couple of years, but this guy came into the league in '79. He won his first 5 starts, and he finished 6-4 as a starter for the Giants that year. Made the All Rookie team, finished second in the Rookie of the Year, and then came 1986. 1986, Giants kicked butt. They went to the Super Bowl. Simms won the Super Bowl. He had the highest completion percentage in that game, and he actually won the MVP and stuff. 2 Pro for Simms, like we said, MVP in the Super Bowl. Now, the key with Simms is in Super Bowl 25, he got hurt late in the season. I think it was a game against the Buffalo Bills, and Jeff Hostetler took over. So Hostetler took the Giants to the Super Bowl, and of course the rematch with the Buffalo Bills. They won 2019 down in Tampa. That was the Whitney Houston Star Spangled Banner game and stuff. But
Greatest one best Star Spangled Banner ever, hands down. No one sang that better.
Rich, that's something a topic for a show, because some of these renditions are horrible and stuff of the, and it's so funny when you hear one of these horrible renditions of the Star Spangled Banner. Well, not funny because it's like a mockery of our country. But if you go onto Twitter, people just hammer them. How dare the league put somebody out there to sing like that? But getting back to Simms, Rich, he 199 touchdowns to 157 interceptions, 55% completion percentage, 33,000 career passing yards, and a 78.8 passer rating, but not in the Hall of Fame. Crazy, right? How can we even leave Simms out of the Hall of Fame? If he won that second Super Bowl, Rich, he's given, right? Just like Eli Manning. Eli Manning is 1 game over 500 in his career. He's going to make the Hall of Fame as well, right?
Yeah. Eli Manning's definitely going to make the Hall of Fame just because he's Eli Manning. Also, but yeah, I mean, obviously his brother's a lot better. But he had the per game breakdown, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense. Joe Namath and Phil Simms. Completions 13 to they're very, very similar. 204 passing yards on the average, 197. They really, his interception rate's higher. Yeah, Phil Simms, a better quarterback, and deserves to be in there. You know what I mean? So, hold on a second. Send invite. Josh is going to go on he's going to come on Facebook Live here. He wants to discuss something with us, E. Bring them on the video. Bring them on.
We got to get our picks in for the week, or go over the games after that.
There he is. I'm Michelle. You there? I could hear you a little bit better than than I did on the thing.
I cannot hear.
Yeah, I can. You something to say? Yeah, I can't hear you even on this, dude. All right, I'll call you later. Amish Outlaw is trying to get his Steelers point in. I know he is.
I wonder if he's calling from Antarctica or something like that, or the North Pole or something, right?
Yeah, he said he just got a new phone or something. So I'll give him a buzz later. I guess he got a new tin can to call from. So I don't know, maybe he's using.
Well, yeah, that can of vegetables. So Murph, we got something going on today. We got the wild card playoffs starting today.
Yes, and it's great that you brought that up, my friend, because we got some good games today and tomorrow and Monday night. Unfortunately, you are going to have to wait till Monday night for your game, and we'll talk about that last. But all right,
it's the NFL's way of saying to Tom Brady, we'll give you an extra day off, basically. So, the NFL wants Tom Brady to win so bad that they give, they say the Buccaneers play Monday, right?
Now I'm gonna I want to say something there for a second. I'm a Outlaw. If you're still listening, if you could type this in. Can you type in our record? Because I'm gonna pose something to E right now. I know he ran away with the regular season with our picks. We're not going to make our picks now, but he ran away with the regular season with our picks. Killed it. So I'm going to propose, because we do have a bet, and I'm actually asking you to add to that bet, because my bet's, you should add to your bet. I'm just saying that. But I'm proposing to you is for the rest of the way, including the Super Bowl. How about this? How about we make every one of our picks until the Super Bowl 3 points? And if it comes down to it where it's really close and the Super Bowl, I will go opposite of you and have the Super Bowl worth 10 points. Do you accept that challenge?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, so I'm a Law. You heard about this. So from now on, our picks are going to be worth 3 points, and the Super Bowl, if it matters, is going to be worth 10 points. So this is going to give me a shot to come back on this. So, all righty, where do you want to go first with the games here? We'll make our picks later, but let's talk about the games, man. Where do you want to go first?
Okay, so we got 2 games today, 3 games tomorrow, and 1 game Monday. So we have Seattle, San Francisco today. That's a 4:30 start. We have the Chargers at Jacksonville at 8:15 tonight. Tomorrow we got Miami and Buffalo in the afternoon. Then we have the Giants in Minnesota, the late game. And then the night game is Baltimore at Cincinnati, rematch of last week. And, of course, we got the Monday night game, Dallas and Tampa, which ironically was the opening day game this year, the first Monday night of the season. So, Rich, today's first game we have Seattle and versus San Francisco 49ers. Also, I just want to say before we start, all these games are rematches from the season. So it's the first time since 1999, I think, that we have all rematches. And, of course, the Seattle-San Francisco game, the Miami-Buffalo game, and the Baltimore-Cincinnati game are actually the third time teams are playing each other and stuff. So first game on the docket, Rich, is the Seattle Seahawks.
Can I make a suggestion? I just want to make a suggestion here, Press, because we're not going to make our picks right now, but I want to make a suggestion to you. I don't know if you agree with me, but looking at this schedule right here, can we just discuss 2 of the games here that are pretty much, in my eyes, I don't know if you agree, are pretty much going to be obsolete?
Actually, some of these games, Rich, I mean, these aren't the best of matchups and stuff,
Point I'm making is, listen, I think there's 4 really good games, and there's 2 games that really, I think that, that these games just can't get out of their own way, because I think it's just going to be blowouts. And just tell me if you agree. And I think we should get the Bills and the Dolphins out of the way first. And I think we should get the Ravens and the Bengals out of the way first. I mean, do you agree, or that these games are probably going to come down to a hope and a prayer for the other team?
Yeah, basically, yeah, definitely.
Let's take the Dolphins and the Bills first, dude. Let's just take Dolphins and Bills first. Again, we're not going to say who's going to win, but let's take the Dolphins and Bills first. I think that game is going to be a runaway from the Bills from the beginning, and I have my reasons why. Do you agree or disagree? I think this is just one of those games that's just going to be okay. The Dolphins are going to get knocked out real quick just because of the fact that Tua's not playing. I mean, they do have Tyreek Hill and Waddle. I understand that, but I don't know. With Skyler kid's going to be their quarterback. What do you think about this game, the Dolphins and the Bills? I'm sorry to jump around a little bit, but I just think this is just one of those games that, is going to be a game that's going to be, all right, we knew the Bills were going to kill them.
Yeah, totally different than the last time the Dolphins went to Buffalo a couple of weeks ago. They split the series during the season. The Dolphins, of course, they're without Tua, like you said, and running back Raheem Mostert. He's going to miss the game. Now, I don't know if you remember the last game. Mostert had 136 yards in the Buffalo game. Yep. I think the first play of the game, he just rolled off a 50-yard run, whatever. But they have a banged-up offense, and it might be difficult to keep up with Buffalo, Rich. And also, Buffalo might have DeMar Hamlin at the game tomorrow afternoon. So the Bills have some holes at cornerback and stuff, but the city of Buffalo has been through a lot lately. A lot of resilience, though, this town has shown. Don't forget they had the shooting at the supermarket this past summer, the 2 massive snowstorms. They moved one of the games from the Bills to Detroit, one of the home games. The Hamlin injury 2 weeks ago. Buffalo has an exploding offense and an improving running game. It's going to be hard for the Dolphins to keep up with that. I mean, going with this guy Skyler. I mean, look at the Jets game last week. I mean, the Dolphins just pulled that out, basically, right? At home, nonetheless.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I think might be kind of like, I think this first game might be a good game for the Bills to go in and have Josh Allen kind of just like settle down a little bit into his because I think the last couple of weeks I saw a stat yesterday. I think behind Dak Prescott, I think he's thrown the most interceptions. I think Josh Allen. And I think that was the last couple of weeks because I feel he was kind of been like trying to do too much. He was trying to. I think he was trying to keep up with Pat Mahomes as far as being a quarterback. I think he might have been trying to do too much, but maybe this might be a game where I'm not saying he's going to kick back and this is going to be a go game, but I think there might be one like kind of less thing like he kind of has to worry about the Dolphins putting up so many points. Where I think maybe Josh Allen could just go in there and just be Josh Allen and whip the ball around the football field and run for 75 yards, which is probably what he's going to have to do. Which I think that, the point spread is high on this, and again we'll give our picks afterwards. But I definitely think that the Bills are just going to run all over the place and it's going to pass a little. I just don't think the Dolphins have a shot. If they had Tua, I think they have a shot. Listen, Tyreek Hill's very explosive. Somebody has to get the ball to Tyreek Hill. Listen, they had Monsert running the ball. He was running. He's not playing. So I don't know, Miami Dolphin fans. I know you guys are happy that you guys got a playoff game, but I think this Bills team is just coming, just prepped and ready, just to steamroll the Dolphins, just to go on to the next round. To think, have more to think about. So I think Josh Allen is going to come in and just like be a maniac, but I think he's going to have some he's going to be able to think a little more, as opposed to trying to be that guy that wins the game. I think he's going to have a little more time to think on his toes.
Yeah, don't forget, Rich, they have the running game this year. They got that kid, James Cook, from Georgia. Came from the Bulldogs last year. So he's got the running game between him and Singletary. The Buffalo Bills offense is explosive and stuff. And like I said, they might be so far ahead that could just ground and pound in the second half. I mean, I just don't see the Dolphins doing anything. That's why I said some of these playoff games are just like, why even bother watching and stuff? But it's going to be a tough road. I mean, the injuries definitely killed the Dolphins. They did play well when they went to Buffalo a couple of weeks ago when they were healthy. And it kind of surprised me, Rich. It was a snowstorm, and they kind of had the Bills on the edge there. But the Bills came out winning that one. But, the odds makers are right about this one. We'll give our picks later. But I just don't see the Dolphins keeping up with the Bills in this game.
No, I absolutely don't. And as we talk about that game, I literally think the other irrelevant game is that's another quarterback situation. I don't think the Ravens have I don't think the Ravens have any shot just being in the same building with Cincinnati without Lamar Jackson. And we'll talk about Lamar Jackson in a couple minutes soon. Like I made a comment a couple of days about him, and I'm going to retract my steps a little bit when we start talking a little bit about a hodgepodge when it comes to football. But I think this is another game, dude. I think Joe Burrow, listen. Everybody's ripping Joe Burrow now because he's confident or he's whatever. Like I love it, dude. Listen, they have been clawing and scratching to win these games. Like their offensive line in the beginning was letting Joe Burrow get the shit. I'm sorry. Listen, guys, my wife told me a little bit that I curse too much, so I'm going to curb the cursing. So I almost it's for you, Shan. I'm going to curb the cursing a little bit. But Joe Burrow, his confidence. He just has to roll with his confidence. I like it, man. Don't listen to these media guys saying, that you're too confident. You got to go in there and smoke that big fat cigar and steamroll the Baltimore Ravens because you deserve it, Joe Burrow, okay? Because listen, man, you're a champion in college. It's not the same thing as being a champion in the NFL. I understand you said you're used to big moments. I understand that you have a lot of stuff, you have a lot of confidence in yourself and your receivers. Mixon was talking junk. Your defense. And I think that this is just one of those games, that's just going to be a game where the Baltimore Ravens should just not have gotten on the bus to go to Cincinnati. What do you think about that?
Yeah, don't forget, Rich, Joe Burrow, he's got something that no NFL quarterback has. Look at the three receivers he has between Jamar Chase, Boyd, and Higgins. I mean, who has the luxury of throwing to three guys like that, basically? And then you got Joe Mixon out of the backfield. I mean, don't forget, the Bengals are the reigning AFC champs, Rich. It's their league to win again, basically, I mean, they're playing on all cylinders. I think the AFC's got the best teams right now. I mean, you could see out of the 7 teams, we could all agree. What's up?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, Okay, yeah, you could understand, Rich, that the Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs are probably the best teams, and no other team's going to make it out of the NFC out of those three teams. One of those three teams going to make it. So these are three powerhouse teams, and Cincinnati. I mean, they've been around a long time. This would be the first time that they won back playoffs in back-to-back years. That's crazy, you know. Baltimore's been falling on hard times since Lamar Jackson left, like we said. They haven't been scoring points, but the defense is doing all it can. Now we can't really look at last week's game, Rich, as a sign of this game. I mean, it's a rematch, but don't forget last week Baltimore already tied into that sixth seed, I think they are. So there was no reason to play their starters. So I know J.K. Dobbins and Andrews sat out last week, but you know.
J.K. Dobbins going to really is J.K. Dobbins going to really make a difference? You know, I understand he's a good running back, but is he going to really make a difference? You know what I mean? When you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, you know.
Well, Rich, they are averaging 160 yards on the ground, and that's even without having Lamar Jackson around. So their running game is good. It all depends on Cincinnati's defense and stuff, you know. But Baltimore is in the same situation as Miami with their quarterback, Rich. They need Tyler Huntley. If Tyler Huntley plays, they're good. If their third string plays again, it's just like Miami. It's the same thing going on. I mean, should Baltimore be in the playoffs? Absolutely not.
I mean, you know what, and that leads me to just talk. I want to talk about the Ravens for a second. I made a comment the other day about the Jets. I'm not going to talk about. Listen, real quick about the Jets, because I want to intertwine it to my Baltimore Ravens point. The New York Jets. Listen, I listened to the Sports Talk Radio, and I was listening to somebody the other day who made a really good point about the Jets coaching situation. I don't think it's going to happen, but Robert Saleh, you're a good coordinator. You know, I'm not saying fire the guy. I don't know. I don't know what I think about about Robert Saleh as a head coach. He's got one more year to prove himself. But what I do think is I think that a lot of these teams are hanging their hot hat on the hot coordinator. Now, all this guy's a good coordinator. I know they're high on the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, and I know teams are high on all these new, young offensive coordinators. Brandon Tierney said something the other day that made me laugh. He said that the next head coach of the New York Jets needs to have gray hair and a scowl. The next resume that comes over Woody Johnson's desk for head coach of the New York Jets, and listen, I would love to have Robert Saleh just say, you know what, though, I gave it a shot, and I'll kick back. Let me hang out and hold on the defense, get another offensive coordinator, and let's hire a 65, 70-year-old head coach that has been there before. I would love to see some gray hair, beady eyes, and a scowl on the side of the Jets. But we have to give Robert Saleh one more year to see if to fulfill his contract. But I think that it's got to be it's definitely a coaching deal with the Jets. Do you go in there and you fire everybody? Like LaFleur, is he fired? Is he not fired? I don't know. LaFleur's got to go, whatever. Again, another young coordinator that everybody's so high on. The next resume that Woody Johnson has to read has got to be one that says head coach and then hire a coordinator specific to what they need to do. Okay, and I think that's a big problem with the New York Jets. Second problem with the New York Jets is we have listen, I don't know if this has ever happened. You may be able to say that. I don't know if this has ever happened to me that a team has gotten three contributing explosive football players from the draft. Garrett Wilson, okay, Sauce Gardner, and Breece Hall. Unfortunately, Breece Hall got hurt in the beginning of the season, but you drafted three explosive football players that made immediate impact on your football team, and you had nobody to throw them the football, and you had nobody how to teach them how to become NFL wide receivers or NFL running backs. You had nobody to teach them. Zach Wilson, listen, you're a handsome dude. You're not a football player in the NFL. Go, whatever. He might get a job somewhere, but he can't be here next year. Mike White, unfortunately, was part of one of the most brutal hits I've ever seen. I mean, that wasn't a penalty. Whatever. I'm not going to complain about the penalty part, but he was part of one of the most brutal hits I've ever seen in football. 5 broken ribs. You know he's not playing. The other guy, his quarterback, I don't know. Again, that shows I call him the other guy. He may as well just go too. I think the direction that the Jets need to go to is they need to sign somebody that's been in the league a couple of years. Now, I could tell you that I would love to have Aaron Rodgers, for 1 year, maybe to teach somebody how to play football. But I made a comment the other day about Lamar Jackson, that I didn't want him anywhere near my football because we have such explosive players like Garrett Wilson and, Elijah Moore and Breece Hall. But I think that if you look at a guy like Lamar Jackson, who can throw the football, he's not just a runner. He can throw the football, almost Michael Vick-like. So, and he's been getting on in the years. Not that he's old, but he's in the league a couple of years. So maybe if he gets to a place where he's in an offense where he could trust his receivers all the time, where he could trust his running back, his offensive line, let's shore up the offensive line, where he won't be the guy that let's run first. He might look to throw the ball to the 3 receivers that he's got out there, or to hand the ball off, and maybe he was run. And the third option for Lamar Jackson running the football is a touchdown. So I come back to the fact that, yeah, you know what, though? Why don't we open up the wallets and why don't we open up the bank accounts for Lamar Jackson? Why don't we bring him in here? Let's see what happens. It can't be any worse than we got going on now. And we've never, ever, ever had a franchise quarterback on the New York Jets. No, we've never had a Lamar Jackson so polarizing of a football player at quarterback position like this kid. So you know what, though? It can't be any worse than what we got now. You know, does it throw him into turmoil? Maybe with the offense. But you know what, though? Maybe it doesn't. So that's what I think. And when I'm talking about the Ravens, I do think that they should go after Lamar Jackson. Eric, you there still?
Sorry, I got kicked out. I'm back in. You hear me?
Hear you now. I know that was a long-winded response, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. Jackson's available. The problem with Jackson is the Ravens might put the franchise tag on him and keep him one more year. So there's some other options out there like Carr and Garoppolo and stuff, even Tom Brady. So there might be some other options out there. Aaron Rodgers, but I think if Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers, there's some dead cap money too. So it's going to be a winter of what the Jets do. Do they go to veteran route or they draft another one?
Winter of discontent. I don't want them going anywhere near a one of these kids from college. I'm tired of the draft. The Jets don't know how to draft a quarterback. They know how to draft wide receivers. They know how to draft, defensive players. They know how to draft the running backs. They got 3 of them. They don't know how to draft a quarterback, and they've never known how to draft a quarterback. So I don't know. Maybe this guy, the new GM, maybe, but don't draft a quarterback. If you want to draft a quarterback, kind of keep an eye on somebody maybe that's playing now. Somebody with some veteran experience. Like I said, I know it sounds funny, but get a Tom Brady, get get an Aaron Rodgers, get a Derek Carr, get somebody like that. Derek Carr would be great. I would love Derek Carr because again, it's better than what we have now. Any alternative is better than we have now. I mean, it just is.
Yep. Definitely agree. I mean, isn't it funny, Rich, so many years of the Jets franchise and all the general managers and personnel, and they still couldn't draft a quarterback. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I'm going off Facebook Live right now because I have to, my battery's about to die. So I'm clicking the finish button, but I'll still have the recording going. So, all right, guys, later on Facebook. All right, I'm sorry. My battery's about to die. So.
One more thing about Joe Burrow. I mean, definitely an MVP type caliber. The only thing standing in the way of Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes, I guess, right?
In front of Joe. Oh man, because there's 3 quarterbacks in that. Listen. I'm sorry, guys. I got a little distracted here. In the AFC, you're talking about. Listen, Pat Mahomes is a worldly. You know how I feel about Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is a worldly quarterback, dude. There's nobody better than him, dude. I mean, it's because he just does everything.
Exactly. Crazy. But getting back to this game, the Baltimore-Cincinnati game, Rich, I guess those who have to work on Monday, it is a holiday weekend, but some have to work like me. I'm going to catch up on my sleep rather than watch this game tomorrow night.
What, tomorrow night's game?
Yeah, the Baltimore-Cincinnati game. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the Baltimore. Yeah, exactly. Guys, I'm very sorry. I got distracted. My son's trying to get my attention about something. I apologize. I'm back though. Yeah. This game, Sunday 8:15 night game. I'm not. I'm going to watch because I want to see Joe Burrow just kick their ass. But yeah, we jumped to those games first, because I think those 2 games where I pretty much think we're going to know, who's going to be the outcome there. I'd be very surprised if either one of those teams came out with a win. I really would. The Ravens or the Dolphins.
Exactly. Where are we headed now, Rich? Which game now would you want to do?
Let's go to let's go to today's first game here. Let's go to the Seahawks and the 49ers. Like, what do you think about the Seahawks and the 49ers? Like, do you think Gino's got enough to go against that 49ers defense? Do you think the young kid's going to play well? Like, I think the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. So, where I'm going with this, I don't think Geno Smith is he's in. I don't think Geno Smith's got what it takes to win against that defense. I think the 49ers are going to probably win that game handily. But we'll go into the point spread and stuff. But I don't know. What do you think about the Seahawks?
Okay, Rich. So when we look at these games, there is an intangible called weather. I don't know if too many people are talking about the weather in San Francisco today, but the weather is going to be absolutely positively bad. It's going to be Seahawks weather, torrential downpours, maybe thunderstorms, crazy weather coming in. But the 49ers, 2-0 against the Seahawks this year, outscored them 48-20. Teams winning the first games and hosting a third game of the playoffs are 14-9. So that's in the 49ers' favor. Seattle's run defense is horrible. Look for McCaffrey to have a good game if he could stay up in the mud. Poor tackling on Seattle too. They do allow 31 yards. They're 31st in the league in yards after catch. Geno Smith did have a nice year, 4,280 yards passing, averages of 256 yards a game, but only 217 per game versus San Francisco. Seattle is the warm and fuzzy story, but this is the playoffs, and this separates the men from the boys. Also, on the San Francisco side, Brock Purdy. So Brock Purdy was impressive in replacing Lance and Garoppolo this year, but also no postseason experience. He'll have to lean on his offensive veterans, McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Kittle, and Trent Williams, the left tackle, to make big plays. Like I said, the weather's going to be bad. Seattle's only won 3 out of their last 10, kind of limped into the playoffs. I think the Lions should have been there over the Seahawks, but it's going to be one of those messy types of day, Rich, out in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it might actually give Seattle hope, the bad weather and stuff. But we'll see what happens, Rich. But like I said, Brock Purdy, nice story during the season. But, the playoffs are a different season. Rich, what do you think?
I think the playoffs are a completely different season. And you mentioned the weather. I think, listen, both of those teams are used to playing in bad weather. I mean, you've seen many Seahawk games and many 49er games when they're playing either where the weather is just torrential downpours. It's just like, the weather's going to make it. The weather's going to make a difference, I think, for the 49ers. I think because, as I've been saying the whole year, 49ers win football games. Listen, they have electric players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they don't have the McCaffreys and the Debos and the Bosa. Well, the Bosa is part of what I'm going to say is I've been saying all season, the 49ers are a trench atmosphere team. They win it in the trenches. Their defensive line and their offensive line are playing so well this year that weather factor is going to be in the 49ers' favor because when it comes down to it, if it's pouring rain, I think that offensive line of the 49ers and the defensive line of the 49ers are just going to push the other team harder. The offensive line is going to open up holes in that mud for McCaffrey. And I think that the Nick Bosa is going to want to kill Geno Smith with such a savage lust to sack people. I think that he is playing this year better than he's played in his entire career. And he's here. Nick Bosa is here. And when I say here, he's here with TJ Watt. He's here with these guys, Myles Garrett. He's here with these guys that they talk about that are maniac guys on the defensive line that just want to kill the quarterback. Geno Smith's got no shot today. And Geno Smith's a nice story, but I think what Geno Smith is doing right now is Geno Smith right now is thinking he's looking at Russell Wilson. So if you think Geno Smith's going to get a $40 million contract to play for another football team, and I've also heard that people say that Geno Smith, they want him back with the New York Jets. Geno Smith is Russell Wilson. When I say that, look what happened to Russell Wilson when he left Pete Carroll's team. He became a guy on the Denver Broncos that could throw the football. A guy on the Denver Broncos that complained about something. He threw interceptions. He became a different guy. And if you look at what's happening now with Geno Smith had an epic MVP worldly year for him. Okay, he's like, wait a second. I've been a mediocre quarterback up to this point, and I've also had some really bad seasons. But I get with this guy, and all of a sudden I'm throwing for 4,000 yards. I'm not going anywhere. So I think that Geno Smith is also just like Russell Wilson. He's a product of what Pete Carroll's doing over in Seattle. And he's not going to leave. So I think Russell Wilson is going to get, I think Bosa and company are going to chase him around all day in that mud. And the Seahawks, I don't know. They have nothing really that's going to, that any firepower to go against either or the defensive or the offensive line of the 49ers. I think the 49ers are just built to win a Super Bowl this year. And they have something if they do win a Super Bowl this year that I'm going to go into that, different with the AFC and the NFC is they're going to win it with something other than a high-level quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's agreeable. Yeah, I mean, sometimes defense wins Super Bowls. Look at Tampa Bay when they beat the Raiders in the early 2000s. They just won the Super Bowl on defense alone, basically. I think they had 3 or 4 touchdowns in the game, the defense. Crazy, right? But yeah, defense dominates sometimes, Rich, and I do agree with you on that. But if the Seattle Seahawks can get a running game going with Kenneth Walker, who came on the scene basically week 7, 167 yards against the Chargers, I mean, the Seahawks might have a chance if they could run the ball today.
That's the thing. I don't even think that they have a shot at that because I think that, that defensive line is just going to be waiting for whoever runs their way, even that young kid, whoever it may be. I just think that defensive line is just going to be salivating for someone to come up that middle. I really do. Exactly. Nick Bosa is almost going to challenge, almost going to dare people to run up the middle today. And he's almost going to dare Geno Smith to run out of the pocket today. I really do think that it's going to be that I cannot wait to watch this football game. I really can't. Because again, I think the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. I can't wait. This is probably one of the games I want to watch the most. As a matter of fact, the two teams who I thought were going to win the World Series are actually World Series. The two teams I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl are actually playing today. We're going to go into the next game, the Charger game, in a second. But yeah, man, I think the 49ers are going to be salivating to their defense and offense to win this football game tonight.
Yeah, I will be out to dinner, Rich, during the game, but I'm hoping the place that I go to has a TV because I'm really interested in seeing this game. But sometimes you got to take the lovely wife out sometimes to dinner, Rich.
Yeah, but you know what, though, Eric, you also got to you got to take the lovely wife out to dinner every once in a while. But you also got your lovely wife also has to say, can we, maybe go somewhere with a TV so at least out of the corner of my eye I can see the football game. My wife does that, so she's good like that.
Every place has a TV, Rich. I don't think I'll be deprived of the game at 4:30. I'll definitely be watching the 8:00 game tonight, though, Rich, between the Chargers and the and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Another rematch. We saw the Jaguars last Saturday night, struggled to beat Tennessee, but they managed to get in the playoffs. And what do you think about this game?
I think this game has every make. I think you're looking at two of the premier young quarterbacks in football right now that just need that little extra something to get it going. You got two of these guys. You got Sunshine over there in Jacksonville, and you got Herbert over there, and I keep saying San Diego. I understand, but you made a good point about the Chargers not having a home. But what I think about this game is Chargers are going to win this game because I just think if they may. I'm not saying they wanted a little more, but I think that their scrutiny that they've had this year and Herbert and listen, what's his name's not playing. He doesn't have Mike Williams today. I mean, he's out for the rest of the season. I mean, you can't worry about him anymore. But I think Justin Herbert has to have a big game. He just has to, and he's going to. He's got a big arm. He's a big kid, and I think that it's going to be a good game. We'll go into the point spreads in a couple minutes, but I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I think Herbert's got to show himself. He's got to make that step. Because I think that he has all the attributes, all the physical ability, and all the mental ability to be in that same sentence with Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes as being an elite quarterback in the NFL. Winning this football game tonight for him is going to put him closer to that elite status. And I think that the Chargers, that's what they have to do. They got to throw the football tonight. They have to. And that's how they're going to win the football. Their defense line is pretty good. Secondary is a little suspect. So, might have some passing yards against them, but I think that the Chargers have to go into this game thinking that we've been scrutinized as being a team that's right there, but we have to come in and we got to push through. And Herbert's got to throw for over 300 yards tonight.
So, Rich, who has the better hair, Herbert or Lawrence?
Herbert.
It might be a game who has the better hairdo.
Herbert by far. Trevor Lawrence said he looks like he has girl hair.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it's the first playoff games for these quarterbacks. The only Achilles heel for the Chargers, Rich, is their coach, Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
This guy is such a bonehead. I mean, last year that game against the Raiders, the last game of the season. If both teams tied, they would have made the playoffs. So what does this idiot do? He calls timeout, thinking the Raiders are going to punt. And what did the Raiders do? The Raiders kick a field goal and knock the Chargers out of the playoffs. So that was his first move. And then last week, he's tied into this playoff spot, Rich, and he plays all his starters. And look what happens. Mike Williams gets hurt and he's out of tonight's game. So Brendan Staley is the key that the Chargers are going to lose this game. He's the worst head coach, worse than this guy in Denver, Hackett, who got fired, believe it or not. Crazy, right? But Trevor Lawrence has 5 turnovers in the last 4 games. That could be an issue for tonight. This game's going to be a shootout. The Jaguars went to L.A. and trounced the Chargers in Week 3, but remember Herbert had that rib injury. Doug Peterson, the Jaguars coach, won a Super Bowl, don't forget, with the Eagles. He's 4-2 in the playoffs his career, so it might come down to the coaches, the intangible in this game. Also, the weather, it's going to be in the 30s tonight in Jacksonville. Pretty chilly for northern Florida, but Jacksonville's so beyond the Urban Meyer disaster last year. I think Jacksonville's going to make some noise in this game, but like I said, we'll give our picks later. But this should be a good game, Rich. I'm hoping for a shootout in this game, a game going back and forth, rather than last Saturday night's Tennessee-Jacksonville game, which kind of like Tennessee dominated until that stupid fumble late in the game that gave Jacksonville the victory. But the Jacksonville fans came out in droves last week. It's good to see a nice sold-out stadium in Jacksonville for a fan base that's probably one of the lowest in the NFL.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I saw a guy the other day in Walmart with a David Garrard jersey on. I definitely had to point him out, because he was rocking all the Jacksonville Jaguars stuff. But yeah, this is a perfect game.
I've never seen a Jaguars fan up here. Crazy.
We have my buddy Scott. He has a friend, Chris, that he's the only other Jacksonville Jaguar fan that I know. But I'm sure he's going to be watching this. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good game to watch tonight, man. I think it's going to be a lot different than the afternoon game, but this is definitely going to be a good game to watch tonight. But I like to see the Chargers pull it out. But it's definitely going to be interesting. 8:15 tonight. Nice night to sit back and watch some football. I'd like to. Yeah.
You know any Buccaneers fans, Rich? Besides EDUBBS, any Buccaneers fans?
What's funny is I do know another Buccaneers. Not that I know another Buccaneers fan, but I was handing out our cards last week. And I ran into this kid over at the UPS place. And, I've been handing out these MURF and EDUBBS cards all over the place. I don't know if you guys see them. Just go on our website. It brings you directly to the show. But I handed one of my cards to this kid. And he happened to be a Buccaneers fan. I was very shocked. He was like 18 years old, 19 years old. So, I've actually met another Buccaneers fan, but I do not know another Buccaneers fan.
Wow. And I just want to give a side note on the business cards, Rich. If you go to Adams and Wappingers and look on the bulletin board, you will see business cards of the MURF and EDUBBS show on the bulletin board at Adams and Wappingers.
Awesome. I got them all over the place too, guys. The business cards were a pretty good move. But this is the point I made. You just mentioned, all right, so you mentioned your Buccaneers. I guess we'll take the Giants last, right?
Well, I think the Giants-Minnesota game's going to be one of the best games of the weekend. But yeah, Monday Night Football, Buccaneers and Cowboys. This is a rematch of Week 1 when the Buccaneers beat the Cowboys 19-3. Of course, Dak got hurt in that game. The Bucs held the Cowboys to 71 yards rushing in that game. But they're getting defensive tackle Vita Vea back today. Now, Vita Vea is huge. He's definitely a run stopper and a game changer. The Cowboys only have 11 players alive since they won their last road playoff game in 1992. So this is a team that's gone almost about 31 years without winning a road playoff game, basically. Crazy. The Bucs are great at avoiding mistakes. You don't see them making too many, and they're great at closing games. Tom Brady, what could I say? The greatest of all time. I think when Tom Brady's behind the center, I think good things happen. I mean, last year in the game against the Rams, they were losing by a lot, and they came back, but they just lost the game in overtime. That was a wake-up call. The Buccaneers need to be able to run the ball today. They got to get the Fournette in the red zone. He's like a red zone monster. Touchdown Lenny, they call him and stuff. But the Buccaneers' struggle is the left side of their offensive line. They have no game-breaking speed, and they need to play penalty-free football on offense. They can't have any of these false starts and stuff. I mean, you're going to see Brady on the sideline breaking the tablets and stuff. If that happens tonight, let's hope it's not Brady's last game as a pro. I know he's got some more games games in him, but it might be his last game as a Buccaneer if they lose tonight. But look at Dak Prescott the past couple of weeks. Look at all the interceptions he's thrown. He's been horrendous. The Buccaneers might lose this game. It's too tough to call this game. The Cowboys are favored. Like I said, we'll make our picks later. But I think the Buccaneers hold on and win. I mean, you saw the Brady Evans connection 2 games ago. Last week was you couldn't count last week's game because the starters were rested because, like I said, the Buccaneers were tied into that 4th playoff spot. There was no need to go out there and get guys hurt. Still waiting on Ryan Jensen, the center. Will he play this week or will he not? But if the Buccaneers do advance, he'll definitely be back next week, and that's a really important piece of the puzzle to get Ryan Jensen back into the fold. Just might play tomorrow, we don't know, but on Monday. But having that extra day off, the NFL gave Brady a gift because, at 45 years old, that extra day really means a lot. But going to be a tough one down in Tampa, but thank God they have the home game. And like I said, America doesn't like the Cowboys anyhow, so.
America doesn't like the Cowboys? Aren't they America's team?
How many people love the Cowboys, Rich? Come on now.
Listen, let me just tell you something about the Cowboys. I'm not a Cowboy. I'm not saying I like Cowboys, but if you look up in history, teams, it doesn't matter if it's a franchise, it doesn't matter football, baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter. Teams that follow their teams and teams across the country that don't live in the city that follow a team. The Dallas Cowboys are always in the top 5 of their fans following and fans in other cities. Dallas Cowboys are always in the top 5.
Yeah, but Rich, they're fair weather fans. How many have dropped off? I mean, look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the most loyal fans in the NFL, basically, their fan base. And they travel well, too. They're all over the country as well.
Yeah. All right, let me give you my 2 cents on why I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to beat your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as much as I would love to say Tom Brady would go out on a snow just started falling. The why I think that you just hit the nail on the head for me, what I was gonna bring up. Why I think that I hate to say it, why I think the Buccaneers have no shot. That left side of your offensive line, Micah Parsons is gonna be all over Tom Brady. I think in the first half of the game is gonna start messing with. You know what happened to Tom Brady, even when he was a Patriot. You know what happened to Tom Brady when he starts getting beat up a little bit. He starts making mistakes. And this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, I don't think they're built for Tom Brady's mistakes. Tom Brady has to play a perfect football game. Either he has to play a perfect 10 minutes, but I think the Dallas Cowboys are gonna put more points up to allow that, or he just has to play a complete perfect football game because that offensive line portion is gonna kill them. I'm sorry to say that, but I think Parsons is in the first half. I think he's gonna expose that, and I think that's gonna leave a lot of room for some Tom Brady's probably going to throw the ball 60 times tonight. I know you want Fournette to get involved, but Dallas's run defense ain't too bad, dude. So I think I look at it from a perspective of somebody who doesn't have a partner in this business who's rooting for the Buccaneers. I think that Dallas gets over the hump, and I think Dak Prescott comes into the game and throws an interception-free game, and I think Dallas is going to come out, and I think they're going to beat them pretty good because I think unless Tom Brady has one of his magical moments and everything goes his way, I just think Dallas is going to have too much firepower for them.
Yeah, and Rich, I think both coaches' heads are on the line here. I think whoever comes out the loser might not have a job come Tuesday morning. And I think if McCarthy loses, Rich, he doesn't even get on the plane going home to Dallas. Basically, that's what Jerry Jones would do. But yeah, no, I mean, I think Tom Brady can make his necessary adjustments if need be. This is a playoff game, and I think the Buccaneers know that, and they have to rise to the occasion. I mean, supposed to be in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, but if you look at the track record, the past 8 years, going back to 2014, it's been Buccaneers. It's been Tom Brady Super Bowl winner, non-winner, Brady non. So this is the year for Brady to win a Super Bowl. So if you're following that historic track record over the past 8 years or so.
You also have the thing that aren't the Bucs? Isn't Tom Brady 6-0 against the Cowboys or something? He's got some crazy.
Yeah, he's 7-0, never lost to the Cowboys. Yeah, that's out there too. But I think records are made to be broken. But hoping for a good game and hoping not to wake up, hoping not to go to sleep Monday sad.
I hear you. Well, like I said, we'll see. That's a good Monday night game to watch. It's gonna be a good game. Now tomorrow at 4:30. The New York Football Giants play against the Minnesota Vikings, okay? This is going to be a good football game, dude.
I think this is the best one on the slate, Rich. The weekend slate, I should say.
I do too, and it's probably gonna be a little bit closer. Listen, I know the Vikings have a track record of getting beat pretty good in the first round of the playoffs, but this is going to be a good game. And the reason it's going to be a good game, I think, is on the Minnesota side of the ball is you never know what Kirk Cousins is going to show up. Kirk Cousins could throw for 600 yards if he wanted to, but he'll throw for 3 interceptions. But who has to be a factor in this game for the Minnesota Vikings for them to win the game is Adam Thielen. He has to get the ball more. Because they're obviously going to be queuing in on Justin Jefferson because the kid he's the best wide receiver in football right now. But I think for Minnesota to succeed in this game, they have to look at Adam Thielen more. Adam Thielen is like 2 years removed from being one of the better wide receivers in the game. And I just don't know, maybe him and Kirk Cousins got into a fight or something or an argument. He doesn't get him the football as much, or maybe he's hurt. But he has to be a factor in this game in order for the Vikings to compete in this game. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree, Rich. But you know what, though? All kidding aside, and you might laugh at this, but the Giants limped into the playoffs, basically. They only won three out of their last 10 games, Rich. I mean, all this, the Giants are great and stuff. I mean, are they that great?
You know what they have? They have, listen, you know what they have? They have that we weren't supposed to be here mentality. That's what they have. What do they use the term? They're playing with house money, I guess. No one's really playing with house money because everybody wants to win. But Giants weren't supposed to be in the playoffs this year. They got a new coach. Saquon was hurt. You didn't know what was going to happen with him. They have no wide receivers. Daniel Jones coming into his 4th season being like, what is he? You know what I mean? So, I mean, you gotta lay the Giants. That's what I'm saying. Might be a Giants team that could go further than you think because they really are playing, as you say, with house money, and they're playing they're playing for their coach right now, dude. That coach told them they could win. And they, like you said, they did limp into the playoffs. But as well as I do, you've obviously seen more playoff games in your history as a football fan than I have. But momentum, coaching, and stranger things happen in the in the playoffs.
Are you calling me old, Rich? That I've seen more playoff games than you?
No, I'm saying that you root for a better football team than I do.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? The Giants are undemanded wide receiver. I think that's going to really play into this, Rich. And this, they rely on their running game a lot too. The Giants. I know the Dolphins have one of the worst defenses in the league, but the Giants, they also are very dependent on turnovers. All this is good in the regular season, Rich, but this is the playoffs. And, they face teams that can match the strength of what they, of what Daniel Jones likes to do. So, but like I said, the Vikings have one of the worst defenses in the league. They did play a tight game a couple of weeks ago. Minnesota's 12-0 when they scored 24 more points. The Giants only scored 24 points 2 times this year. The key to the game is Justin Jefferson, Rich. He had 133 yards and a touchdown the last time they played. But, Kirk Cousins, like we said, is Mr. 1 o'clock. We've been saying that all along. Cousin Joe and I have been laughing about that. But he's Mr. 1 o'clock, but this game's being played at 4:30, and he has a 1-3 playoff record in his career, Kirk Cousins. So, Kirk Cousins is another one of those quarterbacks, those recycled guys that we talk about, like a Jared Goffs and stuff. But, it's going to be a tough game, but I think this is going to be one of the best games because you got 2 rookie head coaches going against each other, and it's only the 4th time in the Super Bowl era that this is happening. So this is going to be one of the best games on the slate. Prove me wrong. I've seen this before where I've said best game and the game kind of blows out and stuff. But all eyes will be watching tomorrow at 4:30 in Minnesota. Rich, going to be one of the better games on the slate.
I'm gonna make a prediction for that game. Throw out these predictions every once in a while. Over 200 yards rushing for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley combined. Saquon Barkley is going to have a big game tomorrow. He looked ready to rock and roll the other day when I was watching. And listen, needless to say, guys, I'm a Jet fan, but I'm not another New York team hater. I'm pulling for Big Blue, man. Let's go Big Blue. These are my buddies out there that are Giant fans. Let's go Big Blue. Let's get you guys out there, and let's get New York into the playoffs further than the first round this year at least. So let's get them maybe into the Super Bowl, because if you remember that wild card team back, when what was it, 2000, whenever it was, 11 or whenever they won the Super Bowl, that was a wild card team. They weren't supposed to do that either. They went in as a wild card. So you know what? let's get as New York fans, and I know you're not on this because you got a team in the fight here with Tampa Bay, but any of my Jet fan friends out there, let's back Big Blue, man. Let's give our Giant fan buddies a little pat on the shoulder and say let's pull for the Giants this weekend. And let's see Big Blue come out with a win.
There we go. So Big Blue for New York. Yesterday was Wear Blue Day. I saw a lot of people wearing blue around. But Rich, we only have a couple of minutes left, so let's make our picks. We're running out of time here. So how do we want to do this? We got the 6 games. Should we go today's games tomorrow and then Monday? How should we do?
Let's go in row. Like I said, let's go Seahawks and 49ers. What's the point spread?
It's 9.5 points. San Francisco favored.
I don't care if it was 19.5. San Francisco's going to win. Big.
Okay, Rich, I'm going to go against you on the grain there. I'm taking Seattle plus 9.5. I think the weather is going to really hamper things up. 49ers will win, but I think it's going to be one of those mud fests today. So I'm taking Seattle.
All right, bud. There you go. Next game, Chargers and Jaguars. What is the point spread?
2.5 points. Chargers favored by coming to the East Coast.
All right. Would you? You already know who I'm taking this one, but I'm taking the San Diego Chargers.
There's no such thing as San Diego Chargers, Rich. You did it again. How about you give me $1 every time you say San Diego Chargers, Rich?
That's fine. I can do that. That's fine.
I can retire. Okay. I'm going against you, Rich.
Every time I say the Redskins.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Indians or something, right? I'm taking Jacksonville, Rich, plus 2.5.
I love it.
Yeah. Moving along to tomorrow, Buffalo, 13.5 point favorites over the Dolphins.
I don't know if you agree with me, but that's another point spread that's not big enough. Buffalo Bills win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, the Dolphins shouldn't even fly to Buffalo today. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills on that one too, Rich. 13.5 Buffalo Bills. We agree on that one. Then you got Minnesota, 3.5 point favorites over the Giants at home.
Let's go, like I said before, let's go Big Blue. Big Blue's coming out. They're not only going to cover the spread, they're going to win the football game outright and move to the second round of the playoffs. So, Giants win the football game.
I'm taking the Giants too, Rich, but I think the Vikings win by a field goal. So I'm taking the Giants plus 3.5, but the Vikings will win that game by 3. Moving along, Cincinnati, 8.5 over Baltimore. I don't know why it's that low. I think it should be in the double digits.
I think we both know we're going with this one. Cincinnati wins big. Ready?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Prove me wrong. Who knows, Rich? Baltimore might win the game. Who knows? And then finally, Monday night, Dallas Cowboys minus 2.5 point favorites on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Where are you going? Fan or smart? Where are you going?
Rich, I'm just going outright. I think the Buccaneers win by a field goal. I'm taking the Buccaneers.
All right, dude. As I said to you before, I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be able to handle that pass rush, man. I think it's going to be a good game as well. What is it? What's the point spread?
2.5.
2.5. That's a field goal. I'm taking Dallas. Dallas is going to win. Dallas is going to beat the Buccaneers by maybe a touchdown.
Okay, there we go. We got our picks. Hopefully, Amish Outlaw took them down. Next week, we got Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles joining the party. They got the bye this week. 4 big games next weekend, Rich. We'll be back with our episode 29 show, of course. Any last comments or anything to say, Rich?
Listen, guys, enjoy the football games today, man. It's going to be snowing. It's going to be crappy weather out today. Hang out. Check out the football games. Don't forget to spread the word about the MURF and EDUBBS show. And thanks a lot, guys. Like I said, enjoy the games. What about you?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for listening. If you do have off on Monday, enjoy the 3-day weekend for the holiday. But have a great weekend, everybody, and thank you for listening once again.
All right, guys. And like we always say, later.
Peace out, everyone.